Welcome in to a Wednesday edition, a little pre-Thanksgiving here on the Jordy Culotta Show. Shout out to our crew who brings you the Jordy Culotta Show each and every day here. We are brought to you by True Blue Water, TRUBluewater.com. Of course, we're driven and powered every day by Go Chevrolet. Metropolitan Health Group, our phone line this morning always is sponsored by Metropolitan Health Group. Real doctors, real solutions. Nick Underhill coming at 8:15 this morning. We'll talk New Orleans Saints. Saints play tomorrow. They play the Buffalo Bills inside the Dome. Tough draw.
Tough draw after the
Thanksgiving. It looks like Kamara's going to be out again, too.
I know.
All right, so we'll talk to Nick about the Saints coming up here at 8:15. Nathan Velasquez is going to be in studio with us, and we'll talk Thanksgiving dinners with our guy, Chef Jean-Paul Bourgeois.
Clutch.
Here on a Wednesday edition.
Here's my question: are y'all big Thanksgiving? Like, do y'all love Thanksgiving food?
Absolutely, I love it.
See, I'm not a big thing.
I mean, kill that.
Oh, it's cold in here anyway.
Well, I tried the heater.
Oh, look.
There's no chance.
No
Does
chance.
that work?
No,
I don't
way.
think so.
I don't think so. I just wanted to take a shot.
Dude, it's cold as hell.
All right.
What was I saying? Oh,
Thanksgiving.
Food. So I'm like, I know I'm probably a bad type, but I'm not a huge, like, I like the food, but it's like, I don't look forward to, like, man, I'm going to veg out. Like, are y'all prep, like, give a couple days prep of the Thursday meal?
Like, I don't not eat.
Yeah, right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I'm not like preparing for it.
I really don't go like gluttonous.
Me either.
You know?
Yeah, me either.
I mean,
but some people talk about, like, I'm like, I don't like Thanksgiving food enough for me to, like, do that.
It makes you wonder.
I do like Thanksgiving food.
Right. I enjoy the food.
The roll with the turkey, the cornbread dressing,
so you
the green bean, everything.
You go
sweep the floor.
So you take the original meal and you take everything that you would normally have put on the plate and put it on. You use the bread as a plate.
Do you mix it all out?
I look more forward to
the second meal,
the post lunch, rather than to sit down with everybody. I kind of make a wheat. Like, when people, I hate the guy that looks at everybody's plate and whoa, not a lot for you today, huh?
Wait, watching your figure, Culotta.
Do y'all have a big Thanksgiving?
Yearly we do. We have a big family. So,
yeah, right.
I mean, everybody kind of get together. But this year, I'm spending it with Kelly's family.
Oh, nice.
First time?
Just going exclusive Kelly.
Nice.
Because my family is in, they're in Woodville, Mississippi. My sister and her
another party.
Have if it was a party, we'd be there.
Woodville.
If it was that party, we'd be there.
Is she from a big family?
Kelly is, I mean, so-so, but
it won't be as big.
Yeah, it won't be as big.
Yeah, we have a big one too, but we have to go back Lafayette and then back same day to do both. So I don't get that Thanksgiving.
You don't get to chill.
I don't get that nap.
Yeah.
You get that. You have the food. You get the football and the nap. Oh, of course.
Okay.
Oh.
Yeah.
Wait, so you have to do two? I guess.
So we're going tonight. We go to Lafayette tonight. Stay the night. Do a whole deal at my mom's house with just my old friends and our family, and then next day lunch Robbie's, my Uncle Robbie's. Wow. Everybody goes there. It's huge, just big deal, bro.
Wow,
huge.
Circle up.
Yeah.
Wait, did Allie know that she was getting involved in all this? How quickly did she realize how family oriented you are? Because that has to be a massive holy shit, we're doing this again.
Family driven too.
Yeah, she's pretty family driven, thankfully. But kids are gonna be an issue.
Oh yeah, the kids are gonna be a problem.
God.
But she had to do it all herself. I was gone.
Yeah.
So we met. We were dating. We started dating for 3 months. I was in the off season. And then I went to spring training, so we did that distance thing. And my sister, she had met my mom, my sisters, but not everybody else. And dude, have you been to Sunday lunch at my Aunt Amy's?
No.
Okay, so Uncle Hab and Aunt Amy, they do a Sunday lunch during the fall. And she went
without you,
without me, could meet my sister. It was I mean, she's a stud for doing that. But she got there
up that day.
Yeah, and she got there and so she just threw herself in the fire and did it. So I think she
respect that.
She knew. Yeah, me too.
I respect that.
She won me over a lot with that. I was like, damn, that's hard to do.
Right.
You got to because there's big families.
I'll talk to you later. I love you.
If you really weren't into me, I don't think you. You ain't walking into that shit storm. I promise you.
No doubt about it. Mine's a lot like that.
Yeah.
Big Italian family. I mean, we sit around a huge
There's no
Sunday lunch table, right? I mean, everybody's out in the open,
and everybody's I imagine ragging on each other.
And
once you're in, you're in.
New faces are.
Nobody's safe.
Nobody's off. Nobody's off limits.
Yeah. What is your role for the Thanksgiving if it's a big family? Do y'all all sit down at the same time? This is how ours. I remember whenever we did it with family when I lived in Alec. It was main table, adults, aunts, uncles are over there, then kids
try
table.
to avoid that table.
They try. Yeah, you don't want to be there, but you did when you were younger. You're like, oh man, well, I don't know what they're doing, but they're laughing a lot, and you're just kind of at the kids table, looking to get to the big table. But now, once you get there, you don't really want to be there again. But I'm just wondering, is it that family dynamic to where everybody comes in at the same time, we sit down and we eat? Or is it like grab a plate when you can?
Is this Thanksgiving or just Sunday lunch?
Thanksgiving.
Thanksgiving would be more kind of sporadic, more kind of people spread out, right?
Yeah, but you all eat at the same time.
Sunday lunch at our house is around like a 16.
Well, that's Italian.
Oh, that's
like long
Godfather
table.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Like everybody sees each other's face.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
How we doing?
Hands on the table, everyone.
But I'm with Thanksgiving. We have a big. Everybody starts to eat at the same time. Like they say, okay, now everybody can eat. Like it's ready already. Everybody's here. We say a prayer, like a praise.
Right. You family it up.
And then everybody goes, and then everybody just separates. Like there's a big table, and you can sit at the table if you want. And like it's usually like the older grandparents and all them, and then different tables around the house. Like my Aunt Judy and them, like they throw some nice shindigs there.
All right, so it is pre-Thanksgiving here. We will talk about the Saints playing tomorrow. The Egg Bowl is coming up tomorrow night as well. We'll see if we can't get something from Mintz before we get out of here and see who he likes tomorrow with Ole Miss and Mississippi State. I think that's the best game of the day.
I think so, too. It's better than the NFL games, for
NFL
sure.
and college. I think that's the one I'm looking forward to the most.
And it's a little bit later.
Yeah.
Because you get that afternoon swell hits. You feel like you're trying to stay awake to watch football just because of what's going on around you with the family. But that afternoon, that late night, like 6:37, you're in it. Like I'm recharged and ready to go. Yes.
Cool day off.
Yes.
Weather's good. Cold outside.
Working Friday?
Yeah.
Okay. I'll be back.
Why not?
Well, never mind. I won't like the game at all.
Yeah.
It'll be fun. It'll be a fun one.
I'm up for putting a little content out tomorrow morning.
I gotta go to Alec.
I'll be out of here. I'll be gone.
You'll be Commit, bro.
Commit. You're out. Fuck your family.
All right, so we'll talk all about coaching changes, the latest on what's going on here with LSU football, LSU basketball. Big week for them. They'll have a couple of name brands that they will play last night. Number 1 versus number 2, and Gonzaga looks far and away the best team in the country. Chet Holmgren. Digest that. That is the best player in college basketball right now. He looks like the number 1 pick. He looks dominant. He is special, man. He can play it on both sides of the ball, and he can run and finish, defend.
Needs some Louisiana food a little bit, though. Gain a little weight.
Yeah, he needs to gain some weight.
I guess when you're 7'1", that's hard to gain. And that type of body, that's hard to gain weight. You're so big.
It is
a ton of food to
just to pack it on.
Just to see.
But he is, for as long and lean as he is, man, he is a really solid and skilled basketball player. To watch the way that Gonzaga just beat the doors off UCLA last night was pretty impressive.
Florida's little point guard.
Yeah,
is their point guard, and he's
a stud.
He scored 24 last night.
He really came on late in the season last year, and it looks like his offseason has been pretty solid because he definitely played well for them last night.
College basketball in my back pocket.
Yeah, I love college basketball. I love those types of the Maui Invitational.
The beginning of the year, the beginning and the end of the year of college basketball, for me, obviously conference, but the beginning of the year when it's all these tournaments and you're getting Gonzaga's playing UCLA 1 versus 2 already, and it's a tournament, but both teams are going to be way different down the line. And then to go see March Madness, obviously, is that's the best. That's the best postseason in all of college sports.
Have you ever been to March Madness?
Have
you gone?
I have. I went to the Final Four when Carmelo won it in New Orleans in 2003, and that had Dwayne Wade, T.J. Ford. Was at Texas.
Ford, I remember
that
him.
Texas team was loaded. Dwayne Wade and Marquette were there. Carmelo and Syracuse were there, and Roy Williams. It was Roy Williams' last Kansas team was at that, and that's who they played in the national championship. Who were the overwhelming favorite?
Who was on that Kansas team?
Peter Warwick, not Peter Warwick, but Warwick. But Warwick was like the long shot blocking athletic guy.
Point guard.
They had their the Kansas white guy.
Yeah. Right.
I'm trying to think who it was, but
the guy who put the point guard for the Bulls.
Kirk Heinrich.
Heinrich. They had Heinrich
and the other white guy forward,
and they had the big guy who played for San Antonio. Not San Antonio. He played in Seattle. Luke
Kennard.
No,
he went to Duke.
No,
he's young. Luke, I know exactly who you're talking about.
Yep.
But they were good.
They were really good.
It's crazy. Like, I remember certain teams from like the early 2000s. They are one of them.
And then
the Maryland team,
with
like
Juan
Dixon. They played Duke and Jason Williams.
And Syracuse had Jerry McNamara.
Oh yeah,
and Carmelo.
That's when McNamara went off in the tournament.
Went off, and then Carmelo.
Wow.
Carmelo was.
Carmelo.
Dwayne Wade was the best player at the tournament, though. We saw the Final Four. We went on Saturday, then we went back on Monday night. And Saturday, to me, was one of the most cool sporting experiences, especially at that point in my life. We were so young that I had ever experienced. And even now, up to this moment where, we've done some really cool stuff. This job allows you to do some cool things and see some cool stuff. That still stands out as one of the great days in just
How old were you?
Sports. Probably like 22.
Oh, you're
21. Prime, bro. Prime.
Whoa.
And we did it right. Like, a friend of ours, dad's, it was in the Superdome, had like suite tickets.
Oh,
or just
dude.
access. And we were assholes.
Of course.
You know what I mean?
You're 21 years old and you're in
Absolutely.
the final.
No
Dude,
respect.
That's
going in there and having a ball and just kind of thinking the whole thing was for us. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, but you
where's
invited
the
us here,
food?
yeah.
But it was just a great day, man.
That's when you walk into the arena and you get kind of that you
Nick
get that
Collison.
moment.
Nick Collison. there
Nick
you
Collison.
Go.
Shout out to Gerald Jr. Appreciate
you.
that. And Justin Hosky.
Oklahoma City Thunder.
We're getting in there.
That Nick
Collison.
Collison?
He was
he
was
went to
drafted by.
UCLA.
He was actually drafted by UC. He was actually drafted by Seattle. The Supersonics.
He was in the league forever.
I thought Nick Collison went to UCLA.
I think
too.
I'm thinking the wrong one then. Nick Collison is the one that went to UCLA for sure.
No, he said Nick Collison.
I know. I think I'm wrong. It might not be.
Yeah, I think we're wrong about UCLA.
Well,
You're thinking of Darren Collison.
no, maybe so.
Who was
Thinking of a white guy. We're so lost in the snake right now.
No idea.
All right, let's back up. Where are we?
Who's the coach for LSU football? No.
Yeah, well, I think it's going to be Lincoln Riley. I think the more that the chips stack up and the more that this kind of trends into a direction of where it feels like, I feel like we're going to learn something on Sunday. And, the same thing that we said yesterday, I don't know how much more we can say about it that's going to be new. And remember, like, all of this is opinion. Nothing became,
We don't know anything.
nothing is official, and nothing do we really even know is out there. But just reading the tea leaves or kind of putting the puzzle pieces together, it does seem like Lincoln Riley and LSU is trending in that direction. Oklahoma and Oklahoma State on Saturday is going to be must-watch television for a lot of part of this country.
Why do you think that game is getting so pumped up for Lincoln Riley's decision-making and LSU's decision-making? I keep hearing that.
Well, I think it could potentially put Oklahoma into a playoff scenario.
No, they would just have the Big 12 championship. Like, that would be the only thing that they're playing for, right?
If they lose?
If they win, then they have to play for the Big 12 championship, so that's on December 4th, which pushes back the LSU timeline. But there's no way that's a deciding factor in whether you're going to keep Lincoln Riley on your docket, like if you're going to hire him or not. Like, that's what I've been hearing, is that Oklahoma needs to lose this weekend so LSU can hire Lincoln Riley, because he won't have to prepare for the Big 12 championship.
No, he wants to recruit, though. He's going to still be.
It's got to be a recruiter.
Yeah.
Right, I understand that. So you want him but why is December 1st so hard and fast on the recruiting, like, that you need him in there for?
Early signing period.
Early signing period. You got to get a 2-week push.
Yeah.
So that's the big factor, is that you would rather have your coach in place for that one recruiting cycle, that one early recruiting period, and if Lincoln Riley plays December 4th, you can't hire him?
I don't
know that. I don't know that, but it does seem like he is tied to Saturday. There is something tied to Saturday.
Right, and I don't know why. I'm trying to figure out what it is, though.
For me, I'm on board with that. You want the guy in and being able to recruit, and I'm not saying he wouldn't be able to do it, but he wouldn't be able to do it as efficiently if he was here. He's still got to coach a team. Like, he's not going to leave there before they go to the playoffs. So that's an extra month of him not in LSU colors, and I don't know if I'd want that. If it's close enough. Now, if it's like head and shoulders, and like it was an easy decision, then of course you just wait. But
I think he is head and shoulders above everyone else, at least on LSU's board, because they wouldn't have gone through what they've gone through to be able to secure him if it is in fact Lincoln Riley.
Maybe.
So if it's 3 days that you're kind of putting and waiting on a contingency plan for, I wouldn't base my hire around one recruiting class. Like, this is a 10-year plan, not a 1-year plan.
Yeah, but this recruiting class.
Yeah, but it's going to be like that every year in Louisiana.
Yeah, but no, it's not going to be like this.
You don't think you
it's
can
not
tell?
Gonna be like this.
You're not going to get 5-star quarterbacks and 5-star offensive. You don't have the 2 offensive linemen that you have in this.
They're all committed to LSU. They don't care who the coach is. You can just tell. You can tell that the people that you're worried about. Sure, there's going to be some ancillary drop off, but the ones that you're legitimately concerned about losing: Walker Howard, Bo Campbell. What's his name? With the other offensive tackle, Will Campbell and Bo Bordelon. Like all of those guys are LSU commits. They're all best friends. They're all coming to LSU. Like they just have that feel about them. But
here's the danger.
If you're Walker Howard and you're telling me, hey, wait 5 days for Lincoln Riley, who he liked the Instagram post of when it was Lincoln Riley to LSU 2 weeks ago, he would be enamored with Lincoln Riley hire. It makes him a Heisman contender in 2 years. Like I'll stick around for 3 more days to find out.
Yeah, but it also brings a threat as Caleb Williams come with him.
It does. But that's a good thing for LSU. That's a Walker.
No, right. I'm with you, but this recruiting class, you're not going to get the 5-star quarterbacks and the big time offensive linemen in many recruiting. I think that's the big thing. And I know you say that they're LSU guys and they're coming. Yeah, they are, but that's the danger of thinking that way because you do that and you start feeling like they're locks, and you kind of take the foot off the pedal. They can just up and leave because they don't like the guy or they don't know, they're unsure, and they're not. Something comes in their head. I don't know. They're young. They're impressionable, dude.
I don't know really what the emphasis. I don't know how to answer that question on why
it feels like it's there for no reason.
Why Saturday is such a contingency on what's going to happen with Lincoln Riley. And while I do agree that if you have your guy, you can't base what's going to happen in a 72-hour window on that. I will tell you that the class of Louisiana in 2022 is very important to the success of the next coach. You can't just wipe away what the class of 22 could mean to the future of LSU football, and you also cannot discount the amount of damage that Ed Ogeron and his crew have done to the roster at LSU. LSU might as well have been NCAA penalized by the way that their roster is constructed today. I mean, they have taken just about 25 scholarships away from themselves with people that have either transferred or quit the program. And that's why you have to have somebody in here to get the restoration back to the roster immediately. And you've got to do that through recruiting, and you've got to do that through the transfer portal. And the class of 22 to LSU football is dire. I mean, it is a must salvage, must get for the stability and the life of the program. I mean, it is, and especially for the new guy, like whoever is next. Like, I understand that this is a 10-year plan rather than a 4-year plan, but to get to that 10-year plan, you better make sure that the first 4 years you establish who you are, and to do that, you got to get these guys, you got to get these players. I mean, you have to get the state of Louisiana does produce players every year, but not at the rate that they did it in 2022. There's a player at every position. Every position that means something in football, there is a top tier player. You want an offensive lineman? How about the best left tackle in the country at Neville? You want a quarterback? How about the best quarterback in the country at St. Thomas More? You want a wide receiver? How about one of the best in the country at St. James? You want a defensive end? How about one of the best in the country in Baton Rouge? You want a safety? How about one of the best in the country at Ponchatoula? I mean, we can keep playing this game all day. And if those guys are looking elsewhere and have LSU on the board, you got to get your guy in place and get them back and settled into LSU, because that's his success on the line. I mean, that's the ability to sell his message and be able to paint that 10-year plan. So I don't understand why Lincoln Riley wouldn't take the job if he won on Saturday. But I do understand the emphasis of getting the guy in place and making sure that there is a clear message to the recruiting class of 2022 and beyond of who LSU football is and who is the representative of the head coach, who's going to be the guy. They need to know that. They need to sell and hear that message. And, both sides.
Yeah.
The new guy needs it, and the recruits have to have it over the next couple of weeks.
I understand all that, and I know that this class seems different than all the others, but we went through this with Les Miles. Like, do you not remember that he kept being able to hold on because everybody said, you have to lock down this recruiting class. You have to lock down this recruiting class. You have to lock down this next recruiting class. Like, this is what's going to make the difference. LSU has all the talent in the world, and they haven't been able to win with it because of who they've had at head coach. I'd imagine that at some point you have to realize that look at what Lincoln Riley's done with Oklahoma's talent, and look who he's been able to bring in there. And I understand that you want these Louisiana guys, but when you actually have a head coach that's good at their job, which LSU, I think it's safe to say, hasn't had the last 2 years when you look at the last two tenured head coaches, like, I think it's okay to sacrifice a little talent on the front end just right now because Lincoln Riley has proven he can already win with less. But I do understand where you're coming from. The only thing is, if it's the class of 2022 that falls through, that's on O. That's on him not being able to stay at LSU and be able to win this year, because when you hired him, and I'm sure this is what would be the reason he kicked himself, he recruited this class, and this would have been his stalwart. This would have been his put my stamp on it. I can be the head coach at LSU because look at the talent I can bring in, and then if you put coaches around it, then look at this. Look, because wouldn't you imagine that all these kids would be in the boat if O was having a good year because they recruited, they were committed to him.
Right, but you can't. It is O's fault, but nobody's going to look at it that way. The new coach has to carry that, and you can't stop. At some point, you just got, you know what? He it got messed up so much that excuse can't be valid anymore. You know what I mean?
Well,
like, it's not.
That is his. I'm telling you, that's what's going. When you overall look at Orgeron and you say, all right, let's break him down from a football aspect and what got him fired. What got him fired at LSU? Take all the off the field stuff away from it. Is roster mismanagement. Is the inability to manage a roster and have people lined up with positions where you needed depth. I mean, the turnover on the offensive line, the fact, and this is not a shot at Liam Shanahan at all. Liam Shanahan is going to have tremendous success and had a great 4-year run at Harvard where he was a really good football player. He's got no business being a second-year starter in the SEC. At LSU, for that matter. No business at all. You should be able to recruit that position, especially when you see a guy like Cedric Van Pran starting for Georgia out of New Orleans. He went to Warren Easton. You know what I mean? That's the guys that you cannot miss. You cannot miss on guys like that when you have roster trouble and the inability to put an offensive line together. I mean, that is what I believe is going to, when you just kind of step back, look at the Orgeron regime and say, what happened? Like, where did it really go completely off the tracks from a football standpoint? And it was that they couldn't keep these guys in the program, and the recruits that they had to have, they missed on. Tristan Lee, last year, offensive lineman. I mean, I know that they got James Craig into some trouble, and that's the recruit that was kind of at the center of all those recruiting violations. But, I mean, you had to get that guy.
Where'd he go?
Clemson. You know, I mean, Cedric Van Pran, who we talked to. Cedric Van Pran, who we talked about, went to Georgia, out of New Orleans. I mean, you got to get that guy. I mean, those are the guys that you have to have, and you know, and that's why this class of 2022 cannot be discounted, cannot be just kind of, hey, we'll get him next time. You know what I mean? Like, you got your guy, get your guy in place, give him the hat and the collared shirt, and tell him, go get these kids. Like, you got to go get signatures, man, over the next 2 weeks. Go pitch this message and let them know who you are, who LSU football is. Get these kids into the program, and let's get moving. Because one of the things that I think Woodward is, you know, acting on is that the SEC is about, you know, not about to be, is, but you're adding 2 more brands of power into the mix of what is a boiler room. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? For 1 minute, you think you're on top of the mountain. The next year, you're firing Dan Mullen. I mean, 365 days ago, Dan Mullen was untouchable in college football. Untouchable. 365 days later, Eli Drinkowitz is making fun of him at press conferences.
Embodying him.
Yeah, they're dragging him.
Yeah.
Eli Drinkwitz.
Dragging him.
Dude, I love that. I'm a fan of Eli now.
I know, but I mean, how can you? I get why. Like, it's awesome that he did it, and then kind of like took some more shots on the way out the door.
Yeah.
And if you're Eli Drinkwitz, I feel bad for him because I guess you feel safe at Missouri, but Jesus Christ, if Dan Mullen's not safe, nobody's safe because, like you said, he was as close as you can get to the mountaintop for what Florida has been the last 2 years, and then he just gets kicked out of Florida. And I wonder if some of it was his own doing in terms of he kind of looks like he sabotaged himself.
He did.
It feels like he wanted out.
When he was asked the question on Saturday night what he expects to happen or what he expects was going on, and he was like, look, we met about it last week on the expectations of the program. I like being here. You know what I mean? He wasn't like, I'm fighting for my job.
Yeah,
right.
I don't know what I'm going to do if I'm not here.
I mean, it was, and there were reports that they offered him the same deal that Ogeron had. Like, you can finish out the year. And he was like, I'm good.
I don't even want to do that.
I'm okay. You know, I think that he had just kind of...
He's over it.
The plug had been pulled. You know what I mean? He was just kind of ready almost for that announcement.
Wow.
And does it feel like Florida did that because they wanted to get it? Or I would imagine if he did it, he must have a job lined up somewhere else where he feels like, and like you said,
or
he
sees the $12 million and says, just like Ogeron did the other day when he was asked directly about it, I'm going to take a year off. I can do that. I'm going to think about it. I'm going to go rent me a place on the Big Island in Hawaii. I'm going to check off of the map for a year.
Entourage.
Nobody's going to hear from me, and I'm going to go get my head right. I'm going to go get my mind right with a ton of money in the bank. I mean, at some point, you really have to start asking the question, how can you keep somebody motivated when there's potential of getting rid of them and giving them life-changing money? Like we've said a couple of times, the most surprised person in the room that he's getting a $17 million check is not me, Lloyd, and Mikey. It's Ed Ogeron. You think Dan Mullen thought 4 or 5 years ago that, hey, they'll potentially pay you $12 million just to walk away? 6 of that, they got to give you in the first 30 days. You're damn right he was checked out over the last month. I mean, from just a human element, just a human feeling standpoint, think about your job. If you had a multi-million-dollar buyout in your contract that you knew existed, you negotiated it on the front end. You knew if stuff started to roll downhill on you, well, they can get rid of you, but if they do that, they got to cut you a big old fat check. And everybody's talking about you and everybody's criticizing you, and I know that comes with the job, but there's to get rid of it, like I can get $12 million and you can get all of this stress and pressure and people off of my back. How do you really expect them to stay motivated? And at what point do we say, if you're just going to burn money like this, like LSU, if you look at the amount of buyouts that LSU's paying just over the last 4 seasons, 5 years, the amount of buyouts they're paying is sickening, disgusting to say out loud, the amount of money and the people that money is going to. At what point don't you say, well, why don't we just build a slush fund and start paying players more? We can do that legally now. I mean, just put together money on the side if you're an athletic department. Why wouldn't you just say, instead of just burning all of this cash, where you're just throwing it into a well and lighting it on fire, where you're just paying people to walk away and keep their mouths shut, let's just start a slush fund right here rather than giving these guys all this money. Just build up millions per year and start buying a roster. I mean, start paying more money to the kids, to the student athletes, to the ones that really, if you look around, only the ones with job security in college football right now are who? Nick Saban and Ryan Day? Dabo Swinney maybe? But don't think they wouldn't axe Dabo Swinney's ass next year if he went 5-6.
What's his buyout?
A lot.
And
more than low.
Dude, what if that's the play? Like, I know this is...
Why wouldn't it be the play? But seriously, who has job security in college football right now? Job security
Mel
enough.
Tucker doesn't even feel like he has job security after last week.
No way. And now you're in bed with Mel Tucker for a decade and $100 million, and he knows in the back of his mind, if you want to fire him 3 years from now, you got to pay him $40 million. You don't think Mel's going to say, hey, man, everybody's talking all this shit about me.
Fuck it.
Everybody wants my head on an axe. Everybody wants to get rid of me.
Do it.
Fire me.
Like,
Look, Ogeron was getting criticized for that 8 weeks ago. I mean, the story has come out. Brody wrote about it. Ross wrote about it. At UCLA, he's banging his hand up against the wall with Scott Woodward about 10 feet away from him, saying, if they want to fire my ass, they got to pay me my money.
Fire me.
Screaming it at the top of his lungs for people to hear, not only his administration and his bosses to hear, but his players to hear too. You don't think that guy had turned it in? You don't think that guy had checked out? You don't think that guy was looking forward to the payday of when Scott really pulled him in and said, hey, Ed, close that door, man. We decided we're going to move on from you. You don't think Ed had a relief come off his shoulder like, oh, thank God, I've been waiting on you to tell me that, man. Give me my money. When do I get the check?
I agree. I agree with all of that. That happens, but I just feel like there's not every coach has that mindset of it's money driven.
I agree.
And that's the problem, though. That's the problem. When you are money driven, that's the mentality you're going to have.
Does the number get to it where, you know what, might be money driven? Because I agree. That's what makes these guys different.
Right.
You know what I mean?
That's what makes Saban different. Like, if Saban said, if they said, hey, in 2 years something happens and they say, we're going to fire you, but your buyout's $24 million, Nick Saban's not going to do anything differently the way he coaches because that's not the way he's wired.
Amen.
And that's the problem with these people who and look, Mullen's very ego. He loves himself. Dan Mullen thinks he's God's gift to fucking football.
He thinks he's the smartest guy in the
yeah, he's very comfortable with his wife, obviously, philandering with every player, so he must be confident for reasons we don't know.
But, yeah, well, I'm not giving him that much credit.
I wouldn't either.
But he, his shit started going downhill, and, I'm sure in his head he's probably, making all these excuses and saying all this different stuff, and he's probably saying, you know what, fuck it. I don't need this, give me my money.
Yeah, right.
That's what I'm saying.
But the guys, got the good ones and the ones that stay for a really long time. And I don't know, Mel Tucker may be that way. I don't know anything enough about him to know if he's that type of person. But it all boils down to the root of the issue is you have to have a guy with the right type of mentality. Yeah. Right. And you have to. And sometimes it's hard to see. It's hard to find that.
But doesn't it feel like there's only one?
No,
at this point, doesn't
no.
it? But who are we comparing him to? You're doing it without knowing that you're doing it. We're always comparing that's the gold standard is Nick Saban. That's what you want all of your coaches to be like.
Of course.
But there seems to only be one in college football, and it seems to be very evident why. I guess Kirby Smart could sneak into that conversation.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
But he still hasn't won yet. We're crowning him. If you want to go ahead and crown him, crown his ass.
A year ago, they were asking what's the difference between Kirby Smart and Mark Richt.
Right.
I mean, they really were.
And he could still fumble
it. If he gets to the end here, he gets to the finish line here, and let's say Ohio State looks like they did on Saturday, and they beat Georgia. Because right now, I would put Georgia almost feels like LSU in 19, where who's going to beat them?
Right.
You know what I mean? Who's really going to beat them?
I don't feel they're that good yet.
Because their defense,
their defense, like LSU's
their defense
was.
is as good as LSU's offense was.
Right, for sure.
Where I don't nobody was going to stop LSU, and I don't see a real team to put numbers up on Georgia.
Yeah.
No, but it's 2011. That's the LSU football team that it should be compared to. It's the defense is so good, but you have to at some point. You're look at how that
their
season
offense
ended.
is better than our offense.
Do you think so?
Yeah.
Because I don't know if
Stetson Bennett is a way better. No, he is. I mean, the numbers say it. His decisions say it. He's a better quarterback than what we had then. He's putting up more offensive numbers.
Yeah, but the game has changed a good bit, and so it'll be easier for
sure. But still, he's doing
role.
what he needs to do.
Yes,
that's all he needs to do.
But I'm just saying that's the team to compare it to, because when LSU got to, you saw the kinks in the armor at the end when LSU was playing Georgia in the SEC championship, and they go down 14-0. Hell, you saw it against Arkansas. You needed Tyrann Mathieu to bail you up because you had no offense, and Georgia has more semblance of that. But when you get to those championship games in the latter half of the season,
pressure squeezes in.
Well, and you're I hope our defense can really, I hope they have to show up every time.
God forbid something crazy happens. You throw a tipped pick six,
right,
and you're down 14-0,
right,
and you've never been down. Now you have to start trying to score,
and you've never been in that spot all year.
Yeah, I know, but it's just
now the walls start closing in on Kirby again.
Exactly.
Is this Coach Rick or Coach Smart?
Yeah, then it's the Lincoln Riley has to have the same conversation
Right.
when he gets into the playoff. He's like, well, you can get there, but can you win it? It's like, I don't care.
There's only one
Get
Saban.
LSU there. That would be great.
I'll tell you this: there'll never be another Nick Saban. There's only one. I don't think we're ever going to see a run like you see with that Saban had at Alabama again. So yeah, you can compare yourself to them, but nobody. You don't compare yourself based off results. You compare yourself based off of how he interacts and how he goes about his business. That's how you compare a coach to Saban. You can never, ever compare your coach to the results that Saban has, because that's never going to happen again.
I agree with that. I mean, there will never be somebody that has the type of drive and motivation that stays with the consistency that Alabama and Saban have operated under.
Remember, you just got to get as close to you as you
College
can.
football is going to be wild when he leaves. It feels like it's going to like almost start over.
It will.
Yep.
I mean, it'll have a new feel to it.
Because whoever takes that job isn't going to do the same thing.
What if they hire Napier? Relief Med, RELEAF med.com is where you can find Relief Med. We're talking about
What the hell was that?
medical marijuana. You can get your Louisiana medical marijuana recommendation today. All you got to do is log online and hit the Get Relief Now link that you can see there. They are a physician-led, experienced professionals connecting Louisiana residents to physicians for the relief that you deserve. If you suffer from chronic pain, depression, PTSD, other ailments that you can find there, which are qualifying conditions online that can get you in front of a board-certified doctor today and talking about medical marijuana. All you got to do is log online to reliefmed.com, RELEAF med.com. If you're stressing the relatives coming over, the in-laws coming over for the
I need something
for the
from
holidays.
after that comment you just left us on. I can't.
What a
I'm waiting.
bomb.
I
Did
can't
you
even
just-
concentrate on this. Keep going. Keep going.
Reliefmed.com.
Keep reading.
Complete our you can complete the confidential online registration form right there online. Get real relief today, same day video phone doctor appointment. You got to pay your fee and you'll get the recommendation there. RELEAF med.com. I'm just saying.
I mean, what a
I'm
drop,
just saying.
and then you just left me.
You know
Just
that
saying.
you know
I'm just
that
waiting.
Saban is going to have the pick of the litter on who he chooses to come after him.
Yeah, but he
And
says
there
he
are
wants to
people
coach for 10
within
more
his-
years.
That's fine. I mean, I hear him, but he seems like he's kind of getting older. He feels like he's getting older.
He said he can't even,
Feels like he's
can't
getting
travel anymore.
Um,
The old poor guy. I feel for him. I really do, Nick. I think that you should probably, after this year,
Don't travel.
But there are
Call it quit.
circles.
Just coach home games.
He ain't quitting this issue.
I'm just saying for his
He's
health.
not, he's not
I'm
quitting
looking
until
at-
after Arch. He's
I'm
going to
look-
get Arch, and he's going to coach Arch just like he's told the Mannings for the last 3 years that
15
it's going to
years.
be the last.
yeah, but Napier
he's the
can't wait
last
5
recruit.
years for be a head coach.
No. Napier's going to take the Florida job. Napier's
Oh,
going
so
to
you're
take the
saying
Florida
and then
job, and I'm
Alabama's gonna
saying
go and hire him
that
after
because
that.
Saban's going to handpick his successor,
Yeah.
right? I mean, like
Wow.
Alabama is going to go to Nick Saban and say, "Who would you hire to run a football program?"
Bill Belichick's son.
And by all accounts, the people that still are tied into Nick Saban here locally in town have said that, when asked the question on like who is the best underling of you, you know what I mean? Like who's
Who's the most like you?
Who's
Nick
Nick
the-
Saban Jr.?
who's the disciple that you trust the most?
His daughter.
And like people always say that he speaks so very highly of Napier.
I mean,
Here's my
we do
thing.
it too.
How
Yeah.
much would that suck
Oh God.
if we don't hire him? Right? He goes to Florida. He's pretty good at Florida, whatever. But nobody's really saying.
Beats
And
Nick
then,
Saban
and
in
then
the SEC
Saban goes,
championship.
and Saban specifically picks him
What-
to go to Alabama. He goes, "You idiots! Y'all
What
had
if,
him
what
right
if
there."
Napier turns Saban into Urban Meyer, where he's faking heart attacks in the championship sidelines,
Yeah.
threatening to get out of here, and then Napier takes his job.
Takes his job.
All the while he was at Lafayette waiting on the LSU job. This could be Steve Spurrier 2.0 again.
Oh,
Remember,
yeah.
Steve
Yeah,
Spurrier,
one of his, one of the jobs.
as the story goes, Steve Spurrier was left at the Baton Rouge airport because they hired Mike Archer and they never gave him a call to let him know like they were moving in a different direction. He was telling everybody in Duke, he was at Chapel Hill, that he was going to take the he was flying into Baton Rouge to take the job.
Nobody's here to pick me up.
He was telling everybody, I'm going to take the job when I get to LSU. I'm going to turn LSU into a winner.
and he would have.
Oh my God!
Oh
look
my
what happened to
God.
Florida.
Holy crap!
Nobody was at the airport to pick him up. Steve called and asked back, "What happened?" He said, "Oh, Coach, I'm sorry. We had to inform you that we've hired the interim. We hired Mike Archer. We're going to stick with the guy that we know and make him the youngest head coach in college football." And Spurrier went to the University of Florida, who was hired by Bill Arnsparger, who left the job behind at LSU. Arnsparger was the head coach at LSU with a great team and was snipped away by the University of Florida to run the athletics department. And the first move that Arnsparger made was hire Steve Spurrier as the head coach of the University of Florida. And for the next 12 years, he kicked the teeth in of LSU outside of that one time in 1997 that really kind of, people still talk about.
When did he leave for the football team?
2000. They got him out of the Orange Bowl locker room. They were playing in the Orange Bowl, and he was Daniel Snyder walked down there, and people saw Daniel Snyder in the locker room, and everybody said, wow, Steve Spurrier is leaving the University. He's leaving college football.
Were y'all thrilled? Like, how old were you then?
I was 20, absolutely.
So you're like, get this guy out of here.
Yeah.
I guess that's the same thing if like Nick Saban ever like that. I guess that's how people felt when Nick Saban left for Miami.
I remember in 2000.
Like if you were a fan of another team, like get him out of here.
But he was only there for 4 or 5 years. Spurs are for 12.
I remember in 2001, that LSU team in 2001 was great with Rohan and Josh Reed and LeBrandon Toefield on defense, and Brady James and Trev Falk. They didn't beat them. They came in here and scrubbed the floor with LSU. I mean,
but it wasn't like a blowout. They just defensively couldn't.
No, you're thinking about the national championship year.
They
beat them in 7-3, and that was with the Saints' old defensive coordinator was the head coach, Ron, the guy that was like headbutting the helmets. I forget his name. His best win as the Florida coach, without question, and he followed up Saban.
That's right.
But in 2001. Rex Grossman, Jabbar Gaffney, and those guys came in here. Yeah. And I remember showing up to Tiger Stadium that day thinking, like, we're about to find out that LSU's for real.
Yeah.
LSU's for real. You're about to find out today that LSU's for real. And like a quarter and a half in, you were like,
my God.
Oh, my God, dude.
That's real.
Oh, my God. How that team was out of the SEC championship that
How
season.
did Tennessee beat them?
I don't know. How was that team out of Ron Zook? Was the head coach.
FireRonZook.com. That's what I remember the most about Ron. He didn't even last he didn't make a year in terms of like the fan base flipping on him. Florida has some teeth now. They'll come after your ass. That fan base is almost as bad as LSU.
Absolutely.
Would you? How many times do you think that LSU has actually gotten the football hire right? Well, I don't want to say just one, but like when you say
twice. Arnsparger was great. I mean, if you look at Arnsparger's program in a short time of the team he left Mike Archer was like a national championship type team. I mean, look at the guys they put in the league. They had like Greg Jackson at safety, went on to play a long time for the New York Giants. They had defensive linemen on that team like Eric Hill and Carl Dunbar, the very successful college coach, NFL coach. Now he's been on Saban staffs for a while.
Yep.
We're on that teams, but I mean, like the offensive line, Eric Andelsack was a first-round pick, blocked for Barry Sanders, was tragically killed in Thibodeau. Tommy Hodson, all-time leading. I mean, like Harvey Williams, Sammy Martin, Wendell Davis. I mean, those teams were
stacked,
loaded. I mean, that 1987 team was loaded. I don't mean to get off on the 80s here.
That was impressive.
But Bill Arnsparger and Nick Saban, I would say, would have been the two best hires in LSU football history. And you've had 3 guys win national championships here. 4 guys. Paul Dietzel.
Yeah, I mean, give Paul.
So maybe
credit.
Dietzel back in the day was the right hire. You know
but
what I mean?
I only ask because it feels like LSU is always in these conversations for head coaches, and when you mentioned like it's 2 ships passing in the night, like LSU missed on Spurrier, and it feels like when you're at LSU, you're always playing the what if he came here game.
Well, here's the difference. I think in the past,
and we're here again because now you have to look at Lincoln Riley feels like the right choice, right? That would have been like comparable to Spurrier, like getting him from Duke, but like what he's built or at least his promise.
I think Spurrier would be equivalent to Napier.
Yeah, Duke Napier is probably like if we're kind of like
he turned Duke into a winner so quickly.
If you're comparing timelines, I mean, if you're comparing timelines of kind of like the 87 timeline when Archer was hired from Bill Arnsparger to where Ed Ogeron will pass the job off to X, I think Billy Napier would probably be the Steve Spurrier in this equation, just because he's relatively unknown. He's at a school that was not known for winning. I mean, Spurrier was at Duke, Napier was at UL, and they both turned him into a winner in a short time. I mean, the stuff that Duke was doing
That's what I
in
was
the early
thinking,
80s is stuff like that.
Lincoln Riley, that's what I
UL
wanted to
is
make-
doing. I mean, when you look up and see UL ranked in the top 25, when you see UL putting pros into the league, when you see UL, just consistently getting players. I saw where Verge Alsbury's kid, Jaden Alsbury, had UL in his top 3. I mean, that kid could start. I mean, maybe it's not Jaden. Jaden's the younger one. It's the older one, and I'm sorry to I don't know his name. If you can find his name, Alsbury, who starts for University High, the senior, and he's got offers from everybody. And Notre Dame, I think, is the leader for him. He's got Lafayette.
If Notre Dame's the leader, and you have UL.
Yeah, he's
in
got
your top 3,
Lafayette in the top 3. And I asked Verge, like, what is he? He's like, it's all about the coaches.
Austin
Alsbury. He was like, it's all about the coaches. I mean,
that's Marcus Freeman.
They're relentless. They're relentless on him.
Well, that's also a credit to the
No,
Napier
Marcus
staff.
Freeman's at Notre Dame.
Well, that's what I just read. That's also in his top 3. You said
I think that's the leader.
The leader. So it's like you talk about coaching. That was Marcus Freeman, who almost
Right.
came to LSU.
Well, turn us down.
But yeah, didn't like the culture here.
Yeah.
Speaking of culture, Billy Napier. But when you the only reason I compared that to Spurrier is because Spurrier was doing things on offense that nobody had seen before.
No,
at Duke.
right.
So that's why I was thinking the Lincoln Riley comparison. But that makes more sense. Small, relatively unknown, could
Just come
absolutely flip the script here.
Boy, we got off track. I don't even know where we ended up.
Daily, we're brought to you by Edward Jones. Remember Edward Jones over at Edward Jones. Daniel
I don't know
Newman
why I
is
do the
our
document anymore.
is our financial advisor. Let him be yours. Daniel Newman is easy to find and locate. He's out in central Louisiana. Find him online at daniel.newman, or you can send him an email. Daniel.newman@edwardjones.com, or you could call him directly at 225-261-8262. Daniel Newman, who works directly and has expertise in the plant field and plant industry. If you want to get in touch with him, call him at 225-261-8262. 225-261-8262. As you can get in touch with Newman today, as we were talking earlier this week about Newman. And if you work at Exxon and considering retirement in the next year or few years, call Daniel Newman right away, 225-261-8262. Exxon just announced that the interest rate for the first quarter, it went down. This may impact the decision that you make on retiring over the next few years at Exxon. Let's see if it makes sense. Call Daniel Newman, 225-261-8262. All right, busy second hour today. We're going to talk New Orleans Saints with Nick Underhill. We're going to talk food with Chef Jean-Paul Bourgeois, and we'll also talk to Nathan Velasquez, who's coming in studio today, as Nathan's in town, visiting some family. So it looks forward to seeing Nathan here in Baton Rouge this morning. Let us reset. We will come back. We'll talk more coaching changes at LSU. We appreciate you starting your day with us. Make sure that you are sharing, and commenting, just interacting with our posts. That helps us very, very much here on the Jordy Culotta Show, as we got a lot of exciting stuff coming from the Jordy Culotta Show. The new space is going to be awesome, as we'll be showing that off over the next couple of weeks. People are asking on when we anticipate making our debut there. I would say sometime right around Christmas. It's going to take us about 3 weeks.
Yeah,
to
we're
get
hustling.
Wired up, to get sound quality right, to get the lighting right. We're going to make sure we do this thing right from the jump. It's not going to be
TVs. Don't forget about the TVs.
not going to be just thrown together like this
one
was
It
at the
pretty
beginning.
both impressive though.
Yes.
There was somebody commenting on the TV saying they agreed with you that 5 was too many. I just don't believe it. I don't
5 TVs. I mean, we're just trying
If
to
anybody
watch the game.
if anybody in the chat, I'm speaking to you, BG. Get in there and tell, because I know you're a pro man cave guy. You have a bunch of them, and you know you've seen a bunch of them, you've been in a bunch. Give me your deal. Give me the setup that's ideal.
We need to get a golf simulator.
Yes, we do.
Yes, we do.
We'll be right back with more of the Jordy Culotta Show, driven and powered by Go Chevrolet. Trivia?
Trivia coming up. I had to do the
I am
Austin
Ron
Osbury,
Burgundy.
but I'm gonna download it here in just 1 second. We'll do trivia. Or should we do a bet?
Yeah, who's the bet?
What's the bet?
I don't know. You tell me what's the bet.
I think I covered last night, old boys, with the old 3.5. Y'all wanted the points. I shoved them.
3.5 for what? Oh,
A little action. Y'all are all enamored watching Chet.
we
Stedman.
did the over. We did the over though. Did they go over? I wanted the over. You always go over in the action. Did they go over?
I don't know. I gotta check.
No, it did not.
No over.
20-3.
Oh, did not even see the
20-3.
There you go.
Didn't even see the score.
Y'all can listen to me one day. One day.
True Blue Water, true hydration at its finest. Right now, you're only a few minutes away from getting your 5-gallon water delivered to you, just like we are over here at the UDL. All you got to do is log on to truebluewater.com. That's TRU, bluewater.com. The website's fantastic over at truebluewater.com. You can get your service and find out how quick it is. You can schedule a delivery, even hop on the billing system right there at truebluewater.com. TRU, bluewater.com. True Blue Water. Go Chevrolet is proud to announce Go Express Auto Sales, the new used car lot located in the capital city of Baton Rouge, Louisiana, at 11522 Florida Boulevard. Go Express Auto Sales is online at goexpressautosales.com, or you can search them on Facebook and social media at Go Express Auto Sales, the newest addition to the family of Go Chevrolet. Remember, Go Chevrolet is located down in Laplace, Louisiana, but now welcoming aboard Go Express, the new used car lot located in Baton Rouge, Louisiana at 11522 Florida Boulevard. Papa Earl's, the fine spice, originating right down here in South Louisiana by our guy Mark Pop Norman. Developed it back in 2018 and won Amazon's Newcomer of the Year in 2019. They pride themselves in having 30% less salt and sodium than the leading brands at the same price point. You can find them locally. Look for Papa Earl's at Rouse's, Calandro's, Mathern's, High Neighbor, and more. Gearing up for spring and summer down here in South Louisiana, and you want to keep your lawn maintained during these sunny seasons, get in touch with our friend Blake Abear over at Abear's Lawn Maintenance, where he says, you grow it, I mow it. 225-485-8022. 225-485-8022 is where you can find Abear's Lawn and Maintenance, the official lawn and maintenance company of the undisclosed location. Rivalry week here in college football, as there will be a bunch of teams squaring off, starting with Mississippi State, Ole Miss tomorrow night for the Egg Bowl, Bedlam on Saturday with Oklahoma and Oklahoma State. Michigan State and Penn State will match up on Saturday. Anybody see James Franklin's extension?
Oh, my God.
I mean, that takes me back to what I was talking about a couple of minutes ago. I mean, you're burning money on these guys. I mean, these coaches are making just an exorbitant amount of money. I mean, enough money where I understand that they're built different and that they are they're coaches, they're teachers. They get into it really for the love and the passion of the game. But at what point do you lose
you're a human being.
your motivation when you're saying they're going to pay me what? I mean, James Franklin just got $100 million extension at Penn State, supposedly, reportedly.
So it was 10 for 10 years, or how many years? 10 years for 100?
Let me pull it up. It's
well, if in my mind, if you're a coach, you're done after that, right?
Hey,
if you're James Franklin, this is all you need, because the buyout on the back end is going to be exorbitant. So you're good. You don't even have to win anymore. Like, you win on the front end to get this contract on the back end, and you don't expect better performance from James Franklin if you just did that to him.
James Franklin's got the same record as Ed Ogeron in the last couple of years. I mean,
but with more hype. With more preseason hype, they're already in the top 10, or the top 5 last year.
James Franklin has agreed to a 10-year contract extension to remain as Penn State's head football coach through the year of 2031. The school announced the extension on Tuesday as it made its long-term commitment to keep Franklin in Happy Valley. Under the new contract, Franklin will make $7.5 million through his base salary and supplemental play Franklin will also receive an annual loan of $1 million for a life insurance policy through the entirety of the contract. He will have built-in incentives throughout to add additional income, including $350K for winning the Big Ten championship, $400K for making the playoff, and $800K for the national championship. Franklin's buyout will start at $12 million prior to April 1st of 2022. It will reduce to $8 million, $6 million, $2 million, and $1 million from the calendar years of 2022 through 2026. Franklin is 67-32 as Penn State's head coach, which
actually, that buyout actually isn't as bad as some of the buyouts. Like, that one actually seems reasonable. Like, hey, you get out $12 million after your first, and it goes down, like, do $1 million. Like, that's actually not that bad worth of money. I mean, they're not gonna fire him in the first year.
How much guaranteed?
Let's see here.
I mean, it's all right, except for the incentive stuff. I guess that would be the guaranteed part.
Because if you're, I mean, he just signed with Richie Sexton, so you know Richie Sexton. Jimmy Sexton. Who's Richie Sexton?
Baseball player. He's 6'7". He's actually really good.
Dog.
Wow, that was nice. That was a good unintentional reference.
Yeah, I know some things, but Jimmy Sexton.
Not a lot.
Not a lot. Signed James Franklin recently, right? He just added him to his little ledger like 3 weeks ago.
No, the deal he actually changed agents over the summer.
But same agency.
But Franklin floated the story
then
3 weeks ago when all these jobs were popping up that he had Jimmy Sexton as his agent. I think he just wanted to be in the news.
That's actually good for. I mean,
Jimmy Sexton wanted to be in the news.
It could have been Jimmy Sexton, floating the deal.
Is this the peak of money for college football coaches? They can't go higher than this. They can't go higher than this.
No, it's only going higher. Are you kidding
me? You think?
With the expansion of the SEC.
I don't know, dude.
With adding Texas and Oklahoma to the mix of the Southeastern Conference and what the television contract is going to look like at the next negotiation is only going to bloat the pockets of more administrators and coaches, because who else? See, the theory, the model was built on all this money was coming in, and they were saying, all right, what are we going to do with all these cash? I mean, they were pretty much like drug dealers that were dealing with cash that they had to launder their cash. They were saying, you have to spend this money, because if you don't, people are going to see how much money that y'all are making. You're just going to have it sitting in coffers where there's just going to be hundreds of $1 million sitting there. So what do? I guess build facilities, build them a nutrition center,
build a slide.
Build them a slide, let them lay down in their lockers, get them the best, the state-of-the-art medical stuff. I mean, in LSU's facility, there's a defensive room where, you can computer generate the Texas A&M offense
that they don't use.
You can stand your defense out there, and you can say, all right, they're running these plays a majority of third downs, and you can hit the play button, and it happens in front of your face, and you can coach your team right there in the dry facility of $150 million complex that they're spending this money on, because it's just like they're making so much cash that you can pay Ed Ogeron $8.5 million a year. So I'm telling you, Ed Ogeron, when they were like, we're going to pay you $8.5, he was probably like, get the fuck out of here.
We got nowhere else to go with it.
You want to pay me what? You won the national championship. That's how much money these people are making. When Saban took the job in 2000, I'm not playing back in my day, but back in 2000, when Saban took the job at LSU, they paid him $1.2 million a year. He was the third head coach in the industry to make over $1 million next to Bobby Bowden and Steve Spurrier, who were both making like $1.3 million a year. It wasn't like they were making some crazy amount of cash. And now, fast forward to 2021, going into 2022, and LSU's about to pay their head coach $12 to $15 million a year, which is only going to make Alabama pay their head coach $16 million a year.
He has to be the highest. So my next point is so Saban has created this market, right? Obviously, all of the money coming in, but Saban is a big reason why that money is coming in. Alabama's been winning championships everywhere he's been. He's been the highest paid coach. Now
they all hire his guys.
Right. And now his contract is no matter what, the highest paid guy, I have to be the highest paid coach, right? So as long as he's in football, the market's going to increase and continue to go up. The bear. Right? He's going to retire. There's not going to be that standard. You say, well, we can't pay you that because that's what's like, you're not Saban. You're not better than Saban. So then I feel like at that point it's going to go down. It's going to level out a little bit. It's not going to continue rising at this rate because people are chasing him. People are trying to say, okay, well, he's making 10. You have to make, you're not Saban, but you're really good. Here's 9. Okay, then somebody comes in and they get someone who thinks is better than Saban. He gets 11. Well, now Saban gets 12. And it just continues to go up. I think when he's gone, it levels out. I'm not saying it's going to go down to being $4 million again, but it's not. I don't think it's going to keep it going. Now, I just for my, because it's, I mean, you can't pay a college football coach $20 million a year.
They're making so much money that they can, though.
A decade ago, would you have said you can't pay him 15?
No, you're right, but you got to figure out somewhere else to put that money.
You do, and that's why I'm saying, the first administration that says, fellas, we're not paying the coaches all this money. Hold your pockets. We're putting that money into a coffer, into a slush fund that we're going to build our of. And we're just going to go out and I'm going to play general manager, or we're going to hire somebody to play general manager that's going to go out, evaluate the talent, and we're just going to pay these kids to come here. We're going to go find the 25 best that we think fit the program, who we want, and we're going to find the best quarterback, receivers, linebackers, defensive linemen, safeties, and specialists, and we're going to pay them.
Well, then that's going to turn. It's going to turn into NFL.
Well, that's what happens when you open it up.
Because
when you open up the market,
college athletes at that point, the market's going to continue to increase because LSU's going to pay, Ohio State's going to pay, Alabama's going to pay, Florida's going to pay, and then you're just going to keep going up, and the demand's going to increase, and the money's going to go higher and higher, and those kids are going to be professionals. They're going to be NFL.
Don't you think it's going to happen? Do you agree or disagree?
I agree that it's on that trajectory. I don't know if it's going to get to that extent, but yeah.
Don't you think there's some young, brash administrator coming up right now that is sitting as an assistant athletic director at Clemson, at Florida, at LSU, at Georgia, at Texas A&M, at one of these powerful college football schools, and he's looking at this model and saying, fellas, all we need to do is just go the other way. Quit paying the coaches all this money. Like, let's quit burning $12 million on Dan Mullen. Quit burning $17 million on Ed Ogeron. Give me a third of that. Give me $3 million a year. Let me stack it over here, and I'll just go find you the players, and then after that, we'll just find the best coach to suit them and say, hey, you want to coach the Dallas Cowboys of the SEC that we've paid for?
With no salary cap.
And we're going to pay you $3 million a year to do it. You don't want to do it? Fine. We'll find the next guy that wants to do it. I guarantee you somebody out there wants to coach this team, and they're not going to do it for – we don't have to pay them $10 million a year because we're spending $4 million on our roster. You know what I mean?
That's
our
the
quarterback. Our quarterback is demanding $1.5 million. We got Arch Manning.
Right.
We went out and we bought Arch Manning. He's our quarterback for the next 3 years because we've got him to a guaranteed deal that we're going to pay him whether he's a starter or not, so he's not transferring. So do you want to coach Arch?
So I think, look, I agree that you
should do it.
I agree that it could get to that point.
Hire me.
I don't think it's going to get to that point.
You don't have to pay me that much.
I don't think it's going to get to the point where say, hey, we've paid this guy this much. It's guaranteed. It doesn't, because at that point, you're controlling.
This is what the NCAA is terrified of.
Well,
but now you're controlling what the coach can do.
There's some asshole at Texas.
The guy doesn't pan
you don't think
out.
that, like, hey, Sark, you want to get these guys off your back? I'll get them off your back, but you got to give me unlimited access to your program. I'm going to give you $10 million, Sark, and I want you to put together a roster however you see it fit.
If you let Sark do it, but then at the same time, if you're giving that kid that money and you're saying this is guaranteed, this and that, well then, what if he doesn't pan out and you still have to pay him? Then you're going to start just throwing money to guys that aren't playing.
Professional football.
No,
that's
my
the way
point,
it happens.
though.
Yeah,
but
hell yeah, I want it.
But professional football, you have the players have protection, right? They have the union. You have
true.
You know what I mean?
True.
Like you have a lot more.
You have built-in filters.
It's a more level playing field in the NFL, right? It's where these guys are professionals. These guys are really, really good. They may not be as good as some of the other really good players, but money-wise, they're going to get money. They're all making money. in college, not every college is the same.
This is true.
Like these smaller schools are going to get
That's why you have to
crushed.
take the model at a big school. Because we have the resources to make this amount of money.
To break off the punter.
Yeah, like we can just pay this guy. You know what I mean? Like, just pay him.
Yeah, I mean,
just shut him up.
Right.
Just pay him.
You ain't getting arch money, but bro, you ain't gonna get paid anywhere. And I'll give you 25,000.
Well, you're building a roster.
Yeah.
You're building. I mean, go. Hey, buddy,
It's
do
fantasy football.
Do you want to play? You want to play in the
NFL.
NFL? Like you're asking them. You want to play in the NFL? Well, then
That's the model.
I got news for you. You're not making as much as the quarterback at the next level. We're just starting you early. We're at college. We're getting you ready for your profession. Here's the deal. You're not going to make as much as the wide receiver does.
And you never will.
Nope.
You're not getting it now.
Hey, you're not getting Keyshawn Butte money.
No.
You're not getting Derek Stingley money.
No.
You're not getting Joe Burrow money.
No.
You know what I mean? But I'm going to pay you $60,000 to make sure that you keep me inside of the 15-yard line every single punt. And if you don't, I'm paying somebody $63,000. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And I want my check back.
That's exactly how it works,
Yes,
man.
you got cut.
I mean, look,
It's just a scholarship on steroids.
I'm with you that you can't foresee. You're like, wow, that just don't. But
I mean, I can see it happening.
I never foresaw where we were.
Right.
You know what I mean? So, and as competitive as this space is, and as much money is on the line, I got to believe that somebody at some level is looking to get their way and get their opportunity and say, hey, fellas, if anybody's got any nuts to us, if we got some balls to us, really you just kind of flip this model in your head. You say, quit paying that side and start paying that side.
But here's the deal. Here's the deal with that is like, look, the NIL stuff obviously opens that up. But at the same time, you can't just physically give a recruit money.
Oh, you siphon it the one
No,
way.
I know.
Yeah,
There's ways to
it's
do it.
easy,
Now, obviously,
easy,
there's
easy
more.
Clean, easy
I know
wash.
there's creative ways to do it. But what I'm saying is like, if that becomes the norm, then all of the things that, like the NCAA is going to say, you know what? Everything else that we're worried about, we're literally going to just focus on. Okay, we don't care about the NIL stuff. We don't care if you're giving money and you're doing this. They're going to figure out a way to stop, like, because what you're saying is professional football, and it's professional football.
Yeah.
It's professional football if the athletes do not have any protection. So that means the owners and the GMs have all of control, which is what they would have in college because these athletes are on their own. Like they don't have.
You make all the money guaranteed.
It's not, but it couldn't be all guaranteed. That's a bad business decision. Especially giving an 18-year-old, a 17-year-old this amount of money. I mean, how many 17-year-olds have you seen that are bust? That's a bad business decision.
There's no doubt that is. But if the business is about winning college football games,
I get it. It's going to work sometimes, but a lot of times it's not. You're going to give guys cash that aren't going to work out.
Daily, we're brought to you by GoFlow
It's better than building
IV.
a slide.
Yeah, I mean, or paying $12 million, or paying $17 million
to walk away.
to quit. You know what I mean?
I mean, these coaches. They haven't figured out. That's unbelievable to me. If you can just get to that one contract and then on the back, you're
they're making.
If they fire me, if I'm bad enough at this job, they're gonna have to pay me more money right now.
They're making so much money on the SEC football contract that places like LSU, Texas A&M, and Alabama are paying their basketball coaches upwards of $3 million a year
because they got to spend it
Because
somewhere.
you're just like, where do we spend all this money? What do you build a softball park? Build a new Alex Box Stadium. Build whatever
Something.
you can.
Yeah. All we can do
Who
is
needs
build
a pool?
Yes.
Who needs a new natatorium?
I agree. I think they'll take that money and put it more in the facilities and the athlete without actually putting it in the physical athlete. Like
that's right.
More like more advanced stuff. It's making the experience for the athlete better.
Yeah.
This conversation is going to be very interesting over the next 5 years.
No doubt.
Right, Mikey,
no doubt. I'm not
you.
disagreeing that that's the route that it's going. I'm just hoping. And look, I want to get paid in college. Like I wish I was here. And I wish when I was in college this was going on because we would have. The 09 team would have crushed it. We would have gotten paid a ton of money, and even just in baseball. But even though I want that, I just know that okay.
Well, you know the risk
because I've seen both
associated
sides
with
of it.
Yeah.
I've been in the professional side of it. Like, look, dude, the professional, like the business side of sports, turns people away from sports. Like the actual athletes.
No doubt.
Like people quit baseball.
Well, it takes your
and
passion
football.
out of it.
Exactly.
It takes your passion.
And
out of it.
so, what I'm worried about is this happening. And yeah, there's no cap, there's no regulation, there's no nothing. So like this shit could be running wild. But at the same time, I worry about these kids coming in there and not being able to become to still enjoy that type of experience that they would get because They may get ruined at 18 years old, dude, and I feel bad that they didn't get to experience that.
It's Jordy's flag football team.
That is also what happened to the USFL. The USFL is making a comeback. I saw where they're keeping their
small
same
potatoes?
numbs. Yeah, small potatoes. All right, we're going to talk to Nick Underhill. We'll change the conversation up a little bit here as the New Orleans Saints are on the field tomorrow for Thanksgiving as they will be playing the Buffalo Bills.
Where does that go on the needle for you? Anything? I just they're kind of sad to watch.
Saints game
they're so
me.
hurt.
Yeah, but see, honestly,
so
I just
up.
I don't know. I
so
don't think that we're gonna
They playing?
win. The Bills.
Bills
But
aren't
the
good.
Bills, it could be a fraud. I don't know.
Bills feel fraudy. Is it in New Orleans?
Yeah.
It's in New Orleans.
Yes. I mean, now your needle just went whoop, whoop. It just kind of flickered a little bit.
I mean,
Well,
I'm
6 to
gonna
midnight
gamble on
over
it.
there.
Might as well do it now. If
Well,
I'm gonna
6
bet
to
on it.
midnight
What's
over
the
there.
Bet? I think I like the old
What's the
Saints.
bet? What's the bet? Daily, we're brought to you by City Cafe. Daily lunch specials
Squeaky,
over at
take
City
my bet.
Cafe, citycafebr.net. Squeaky Miranda and Cody Miranda over at City Cafe. Getting you ready for Thanksgiving. Stop in there today where good friends meet. Pick up the char-grilled oysters or the raw oysters. Or you can find them online at citycafebr.net. Citycafebr.net where good friends meet. Next, we will talk to Nick Underhill about the New Orleans Saints. Saints squaring off on a short week versus the Buffalo Bills tomorrow night inside the Dome. Come back with us as we break it down with the best in the business. Underhill from New Orleans.football. We are daily driven and powered by Go Chevrolet here on the Jordy Culotta Show. Papa Earl's, the fine spice, originating right down here in South Louisiana by our guy Mark Pop Norman. Developed it back in 2018 and won Amazon's Newcomer of the Year in 2019. They pride themselves in having 30% less salt and sodium than the leading brands at the same price point. You can find them locally. Look for Papa Earl's at Rouse's, Calandro's, Mathern's, High Neighbor, and more. True Blue Water. True hydration at its finest. Right now, you're only a few minutes away from getting your 5-gallon water delivered to you, just like we are over here at the UDL. All you got to do is log on to truebluewater.com. That's TRU, bluewater.com. The website's fantastic over at truebluewater.com. You can get your service and find out how quick it is. You can schedule a delivery, even hop on the billing system right there at truebluewater.com. TRU, bluewater.com. Welcome back here to the Jordy Culotta Show, driven and powered by Go Chevrolet. Smash that like button for us if you don't mind. Interact with us. Happy Thanksgiving to you and yours here before this Thursday. We may put some content out tomorrow. We're definitely back with you on Friday. What's going on? Everything good?
Can you hear?
No.
Mikey's headset. I don't know. We got to
That's
get a
okay.
new studio.
I don't want to.
We're on the move here. Technical difficulties should be popping up over the next couple of weeks, but we got a new studio, and we're really looking forward to getting Underhill in studio with us here when we get up and moving at the new spot. We tell you about NewOrleans.football all the time, and it simply is the best website that covers the New Orleans Saints. Underhill is the publisher over there. He's got a podcast that's great. He's got a YouTube channel that you need to follow. You can always hit him on Twitter and on social media. And every Wednesday, you can catch him on the Jordy Culotta Show. Nick_Underhill is where you find him on Twitter. Nick, happy Thanksgiving. Good morning, buddy.
Hey, how you guys doing? Hey, it's awesome to hear you guys are making big moves, getting the new studio. People got to realize there's a better way to play this game, and you don't got to let someone else eat off you. If you can figure it out, and we're both proof of that. So congrats on that.
Hell yeah, man. We appreciate you paving the way for us and kind of jumping out there first and showing us what's going on, just kind of giving us a blueprint. NewOrleans.football is where you can find Nick and his website. Take me back to Philadelphia last week. I thought the Saints made a late run at it and really competed for 4 quarters. But, Nick, when it just came down to it, man, we said it on Monday morning, that's just an undermanned NFL team, and that is tough to compete with on Sundays.
Yeah, there's a lot going wrong for this team right now, and everything kind of feels like it's heading the wrong direction. They got more injuries right now, and things kind of came to a head against Philadelphia. And I don't think it was just all injuries, though. I think a couple things kind of got exposed a little bit. I think we're seeing a trend now, a negative trend from Trevor Siemian. 3 games as a starter, quarter 1, quarter 2, most of quarter 3. He's not doing a whole lot. The ball isn't moving. There's no rhythm. When the defense is trying to dictate the action, they've been able to do that, and they aren't succeeding. And, that's when they're playing aggressive coverage. They're blitzing. They're sending their pass rush. Then the fourth quarter, Saints are behind, 14, 20 points, whatever it is in every one of these games. Defense loosens up. You're seeing softer coverages. They aren't blitzing. They're just kind of sitting back, trying to make sure there aren't explosive plays. And the defense is essentially conceding drives, allowing them to move down the field, eat clock, and they want them to run as many plays as possible to just keep it moving and protect that lead. And when those things happen, that's when you see Siemian come to life and they start getting offensive. They start getting some of this yardage and those stats start looking respectable, but underneath it all, it's nothing going on early in these games, and they're getting yards when the defense is okay with them getting yards, and that has to change. They got to find a way to get started earlier in these games, but like you said, it doesn't help when both your offensive tackles and your starting left guard are out. I mean, any team's going to struggle under those circumstances. You take Alvin Kamara out, they're going to struggle under that. Now Mark Ingram's hurt alongside Alvin Kamara, so we'll see, if either one of those guys play. But a lot has to change there. And look, defensively, number 1 run defense in the league, look like the worst run defense in the league. They've 2 years in a row now against Philadelphia. Actually, they just have no answer for that read option offense, and you just saw guys getting frozen in space over and over, and basically Philly could do whatever they wanted. So there's a lot going wrong right now. And in the defense, really since that Tampa game, I think they've let up too much leaky yardage. And they're held to an impossible standard with just how bad the offense has been. The defense has to be, pristine and elite every single week. But that's what we have to judge them against. And it is a little bit unfair. But, I thought the Philly game was bad for them. And there's been some leaky yardage the last 2, 3, 4 weeks, and that's got to tighten up.
Adam Troutman officially moves to the IR. What do the Saints miss in him now?
Well, I thought he was trending in the right direction. There's been a lot of up and down, and there probably would have been more up and down throughout the rest of the season. But for a young player, you're going to see some of that stuff. And where he's coming from Dayton, it's a huge jump to the NFL. I mean, and I think we're seeing some of those issues with him as he adjusts. But he was I believe he was Simeon's number 1 target in these games. In this last one, I thought he answered the adversity really well. I mean, after blowing that play, the 2-point conversion, jumping offside, he could have easily got down and just got in his head and ended up in a bad mental space or whatever. But he bounced back. He made a lot of plays in this game. He looked good. You were seeing the promise, and now he's out. And look, they're missing. It's just another player down, and some way they got to figure out how to fill the hole. Nick Van Ette is coming back. He played last week a little bit. Throughout his career, you haven't really seen that receiving ability, though. So they got to find a way to get him going. I guess Jawan Johnson, who's been a healthy scratch now, I think 2 out of the last 3 or 4 weeks, they got to find a way to get him going, get him involved. He looked good early in the season, so there might be some opportunities for him now to build on that progress. But it's getting barren, man. Like, there just isn't a whole lot left. That they're pulling guys out of nowhere. they signed a couple of players, and I'm just going to honestly say, like, I've never heard of some of these guys before you see their name, and you're doing the research, and now you're looking at these players. It's not just like filling out the bottom of the roster. It's like, can this guy contribute? And that's just kind of where the season's at. So, if they can find a way to just survive and get to those 9 wins and make the playoffs, it'd be a massive accomplishment. But really, I mean, I'm already kind of like looking towards next season a little bit, just on how they restock everything. And it's just hard not to watch this team right now and be like, how are they going to get more receivers? It's not going to happen this year. And I think they can scratch their way to the playoffs, but they're like in this weird purgatory where they're kind of rebuilding, but they're too talented in some spots to actually be a rebuilding team. So they're a competitive rebuilding team. But I think just the honest assessment of the offense is that it needs a complete overhaul. They got a good piece in Alvin. I think there's a chance Teron Armstead's not back after this season. His contract's up. That's a tough deal to extend. A lot of these spots, they need 2 wide receivers. They need one or two tight ends. They need to find a quarterback. I mean, there's just a lot that they got to do next year to rebuild this team. And it's just weird that they are able to win these games and be competitive. Well, that process is kind of ongoing, but I think realistically, that's kind of where they're at.
Nick, can you explain Taysom's contract? And when you saw it, what was your reaction?
My first reaction is, who would have paid him $31 million if they offered him $30 million? Like, what team out there are they bidding against? I don't.
That's true.
I don't know who that team is. I know he does have more value to the Saints than anyone else. I think there is value in keeping him around at a certain price. $7 million would have been probably more palatable than $10 million a year. He signed a 4-year, $40 million deal at its base. Everything I've heard is that, and this is kind of interesting, the comp they used to build the contract, from what I hear, was Austin Hooper with Cleveland. So this isn't like built on a quarterback deal. They're kind of looking at him as a tight end. So does that signify like a greater shift to the jack of all trades role from quarterback? Is it kind of like, hey, you got your shot here, and you gave it your best shot to become a starting quarterback this year, and it didn't happen. Now we're going to pay you to do this, and you got to do a little bit more of it. We'll see. Whatever it is, if you're paying him $10 million a year, it's got to be more than it is right now as far as what he's doing. I don't think he's playing enough snaps or involved in games enough to really justify that cost. So moving forward, they got to find a way to get more out of him. And I'm kind of talking about pushing him to this other role, but it also feels like that there's still a possibility that he might get a shot at starting this year, and maybe he changes the narrative and does something incredible, and he's completely different from what everybody expects of him at quarterback. Even if he gets that shot, I'm not expecting him to, manifest as the savior of the quarterback position in New Orleans. But, maybe he does. And, we'll just kind of see how that goes forward with him. But, yeah, it feels a little rich, but I understand why they want to keep him around. I just honestly, if he's on the open market, like who's offering him more money than the Saints, even at, $25-30 million? I don't know where that team is, but I'm guessing they have some feel for the market and paid what they felt like they had to pay, but it does feel like a lot.
Right, because it seems like he's the perfect match to go with Sean Payton. It seems like he's the only one that could actually hack and how to use Taysom Hill, and it seems like he keeps putting these escalators in his contract for him to play quarterback. Do you think that's on the Saints side or on Taysom Hill's side, to where he always wants that to be an option? Because at this point, what is he, 32, 33 years old? I don't really see him having the option to play quarterback in the NFL. So it seems like the Saints are doing a make good on that end of the contract. Second part of the question I wanted to ask is, you mentioned how close the Saints were and how good they are on the defensive side of the ball. And you're right, they have pieces. How can they flip this thing around quickly? Like, what's the quick fix, if there is one, to get the Saints kind of back in playoff contention? Because I'm where you are. I feel like kind of checked out on the season this year.
So the first one, and I'm not checked out on the season. I just kind of feel like they just don't have enough on offense, and it's just kind of obvious that the offensive side of the ball is like in a straight up rebuilding mode, and they're just kind of getting dragged to win by other aspects of the team. But I still think they can make the playoffs, and they're weird enough that they could get in there and beat a good team. So I mean, it's just such a weird purgatory, because like on one hand you look at them and you're like, it might be better if they lose these games and get a better draft pick, and then on the other hand it's like, well, they could beat anybody, and they have, but they really aren't good enough to believe in that they're going to do that or it's going to go anywhere. So, like, what's the point? It's just kind of like a weird
limbo.
Place for them to exist. What's that?
I said, yeah, they're stuck in limbo is what it feels like. So you don't really know how good they can be. Like you said, they beat the Bucks, and then you turn around and they lose to the Giants. So it just feels like they're in an odd spot with the Saints. I didn't know if there was something that you could do with Michael Thomas in order to make a trade for next year and kind of see where they are on that end, or what pieces they have left, because they've kind of gone all in the last 3 years and don't have much to show for it.
Yeah, I agree with all that. As far as the other questions, the Taysom one, I think that's probably just his agent being smart and proactive and protecting against a scenario in case, there always is a chance that, disaster strikes, Taysom goes in there and he plays well and locks down the job, and just kind of keeping that door open just to make sure he gets paid for it. And looking through some of these contracts, like some of the stuff these guys, and I don't think the Taysom thing's ridiculous at all, so I'm not like alluding to that, but like you'll look at somebody's contract and it's like some guy that's like a journeyman and there's no chance of it ever happening, but they'll negotiate like an all-pro bonus in their contract. It's like, why are you even spending time on this? But it's there just in case it ever happens, and they exceed all expectations, they get paid for it. So I think that's just being smart on their side and not completely closing the door to the possibility of him being a quarterback. Defensively, man, the fix is, I don't know if there is a quick fix. I mean, I think that they just got to be a little bit more sound than they have been. The one thing that's a little bit worrying, I guess, about this game is that their passer rating on the road is like 70 points. Passer rating against on the road is like 70 points better than what it is at home games. And now they're going against an explosive offense that can make big plays. And I think communication is key. And that might be an issue against the Bills. That's something that they're going to have to just make sure doesn't happen. I think just overall, it's just being more sound. I think they got to get more out of their pass rush too. Davenport's hurt, so that's a huge issue in this game. Onyemata hasn't quite done the same this year since coming back from that PED suspension. He's looked a little bit different, hasn't been as dominant. He isn't moving people the way he did last year. So if there's a way for him to get going, I think that would help a lot. And then Cam's just kind of where he's at in his career. Still a good player, but he's not the superstar of the group anymore. So they got to find a way to get more people going in that pass rush, be more effective there. And, in the back end, I think it's just really as simple as just being more sound, not busting coverages, having your $20 million cornerback locked in on every play. Like those are just, it's just got to be a little bit tighter than it's been the last few weeks.
Nick Underhill joining us here on the Jordy Culotta Show. NewOrleans.football is the website. What do you anticipate tomorrow as Drew Brees makes his return to the Superdome as a broadcaster?
So they're going to honor him.
You can give him a piece of paper again.
Certificate of achievement. Congrats on your career.
Yeah, you passed kindergarten.
Yeah, I think that look, they're going to bring some juice in there. However, they got to. If they got to roll Breeze out to get people fired up and get this building electric, that's not the worst move. I think this is kind of an extremely critical game for them. You start playing with the odds, and they're at like a 33% odds of making the playoffs right now. And like a lot of those systems, if they lose this one, it's like down to 20, and like they're like 11th in the NFC as far as odds. So like they have to find a way to. I said last week I thought Philly was a must-win game. They blew it. That puts the pressure on this one. At least two of these next three against the Jets, Bills, and Dallas. They got to win two of the three. And I think this is something psychologically. If they go to a losing record, that starts to mess with you a little bit. I think the weight of all the bad luck weighs a little heavier. You look in the standings, and all of a sudden, that you're on the wrong side of that. So I think it's an extremely important game, and getting Breeze in there, getting them fired up. However, they got to get them fired up. It's not a bad idea.
What are the odds, chances you think that we do come out with a win this weekend or there's tomorrow?
Thanksgiving.
I think
yeah.
I think logically you look at it and it looks extremely difficult, especially with the injuries they have. I guess we got to see who they have out there, but they win every game. I think they're going to lose, and they lose every game. I think they're going to win. So I'm not the right person to ask. Every time I think they're going to win a game, they lose it. So I don't know. I mean, I think logically though, if you were going to place a bet, I would tell you it's on sound to put your money on the Saints.
Okay. All right,
Saints
sound like the play according to Underhill. The opposite of Underhill.
Is Kamara going to play?
I don't think so.
Is he out?
So
have they said it?
They haven't said it yet. He didn't practice yesterday. Missing a walkthrough usually isn't good, but if you wanted to play some games with the opponent, keeping him out of a walkthrough wouldn't really set you back. Everything I heard was he was day to day, and there's like continuing like, oh, it's not that bad, but he's not playing, so we'll see.
Yeah.
Them keeping him out of the last game, kind of made sense if you wanted to play him tomorrow. Just give a little more time. You aren't banged up. There's not a quick turnaround. I thought this would be the game, but he didn't practice. They don't practice today until 1:30, so we'll know a little more later in the day and should have some clarity on that situation.
Make sure you are following Nick Underhill on Twitter to get that latest, and NewOrleans.football for the latest around the Saints. Nick will be spending his Thanksgiving inside the Dome. Have a great one, Brand. Thank you for as always giving us great information.
Yeah, for sure. Have a good Thanksgiving.
All right, man. There is Nick Underhill checking in here on this Wednesday morning. Nathan Velasquez is in studio here in the UDL. We have seen inside the bunker. One of the terms that we are going to coin is the new DL.
Oh,
Ooh,
I like
the
that.
NUDL.
Noodle.
On the that's right.
Yeah.
On the move here, coming up. Print the T-shirts.
The noodle.
We will Nathan going to take Nathan over there today at some point. As Nathan is in town, so looking forward to catching up with him. He'll be on set with us here next on the Jordy Culotta Show, driven and powered by Go Chevrolet, GEAUX Chevrolet.com. Remember, they are located in LaPlace, Louisiana. There's a brand new car lot out there, and then there's a used car lot here down in Baton Rouge on the corner of Sherwood Forest and Florida Boulevard. Go Express Auto Sales is online also at Go Chevrolet, GEAUX Chevrolet.com, where they've got a great selection of used car models over there at Go Express Auto Sales. Nathan Velasquez, friend of the show, and back home spending
Moving
Thanksgiving.
back home to help us with the new UDL and come work
Yes.
for us. I didn't know.
Wow.
Major announcement. I didn't mean to break the news.
All right.
Absolutely.
All
Thanks
right.
for joining the team.
We'll be back here with Nathan Velasquez on the Jordy Culotta Show. True Blue Water, true hydration at its finest. Right now, you're only a few minutes away from getting your 5-gallon water delivered to you, just like we are over here at the UDL. All you got to do is log on to truebluewater.com. That's TRU, bluewater.com. The website's fantastic over at truebluewater.com. You can get your service and find out how quick it is. You can schedule a delivery, even hop on the billing system right there at truebluewater.com. TRU, bluewater.com. Papa Earl's, the fine spice, originating right down here in South Louisiana by our guy Mark Pop Norman. Developed it back in 2018 and won Amazon's Newcomer of the Year in 2019. They pride themselves in having 30% less salt and sodium than the leading brands at the same price point. You can find them locally. Look for Papa Earl's at Rouse's, Calandro's, Mathern's, High Neighbor, and more. Hebert's Specialty Meats, home to the finest boudin in South Louisiana. 2 spots right here in Baton Rouge and out in Prairieville. Stop in and see them in the Dutchtown Shopping Center on Highway 73 or right here in Baton Rouge on Jefferson Highway. Online, hebertsmarkets.com, and they're all over social media. You can find them on Facebook. You can find them on Instagram. Hebert's combines perfect seasoning with that authentic Cajun flavor. Find out for yourself. Baton Rouge on Jefferson Highway and in Prairieville on Highway 73. hebertsmarkets.com. Welcome back here to a Wednesday edition of the Jordy Culotta Show. A little pre-Thanksgiving here as we celebrate on the show. One of the things that we are Thanksgiving for is our great friends of the show like Nathan Velasquez and Nick Underhill. Underhill was just here. We appreciate his Saints contribution every week here. Make sure you like, share, comment on the post as that helps us out tremendously, and we appreciate you starting your day with us, whether it's on Facebook, YouTube, or JordyCulottaShow.com. Nathan Velasquez is back here down south in South Louisiana. It's good to see him in the studio as he has been here a couple of times, and it's good to have him back. Good to see you, bro. How are you?
Good to see you. I'm excited to hear about this. What you're calling it, the noodle?
We're
go check out the Jordy Culotta noodle later today.
The new UDL.
The new UDL. We are upgrading and getting new digs, man. Finally going to get out of our parents' basement.
Well, how long? That's under a year then, right?
8 months.
Wow. Whoa,
Yeah.
it's only been eight
Doing it.
months.
Moving on up like a Jeffersons,
Jeez.
baby.
That's right.
Insane.
Yeah.
East
so
side.
hopefully we should be up and active by Christmas, definitely by the new year.
Jeez.
So hopefully the next time you come back down and visit family, we'll be
Yeah, I'm
right
actually supposed to be back around the Christmas.
There
Around
you
the
go.
Christmas
Perfect.
holiday. Wow,
There
that'll be
you
cool.
go.
Perfect.
That'll be really cool.
That could be our timeline.
So what part of town is this in?
It's going to be on Government Street.
Oh,
No,
okay.
it'll be open. It'll be open to the public. It'll be
Is
open
it?
to the
Wait, are
public.
we still going with the undisclosed location? thing?
No, we
disclosed.
just did that.
I don't
He
know.
just
Okay,
gave
that's what I was about to say. That,
Yeah, and I kind of thought you set me up for a joke there, and I tried to play it into the face of it. Still
Government's a big street.
anti-suit.
Government's a big street, though.
You're
We
still
haven't been into
anti-suit?
that.
Still
Yes.
anti-suits.
Yeah.
You know what I
There
mean?
you
We're
go.
still hiding
Good.
out from the suits. But,
Good.
How to get plain sight.
Yes, we will be doing business for sure. Place will be open for commerce. Nate, what's going on back here down in
Mail some stuff to us.
yes. What's going on down here in family? How you spending Thanksgiving?
Honestly, just needs to decompress a
Yeah,
bit.
yeah,
So
yeah.
just hanging out, visiting family, friends, and it ended up being there was no planned family reunion, but all the Velasquez family from around the country just ended up being like,
Wow.
we're coming to Baton Rouge. So
Okay.
I'm meeting like new significant others and everything. So it's not just like
it's a
hey,
big-
it's a
it's a
family.
big
Now it's
week
like,
for
you.
hey man, how's it going? Good.
Y'all
to
aren't
meet
hosting,
you.
huh?
The parents are hosting a good bit actually. So
Is that
but
where
it's-
y'all are staying?
Yeah, we're hanging out
Ish.
there. Yeah, no, we had a conversation last
Little
time.
invasion
It's
of
like,
privacy?
It feels a little bit like maybe we bite the bullet next time and just get the Airbnb. Like,
Yeah, let's get
Definitely.
the-
Wait, so you stand there with your
Get the
girlfriend
room.
at the parents' house?
yeah.
Hey.
Well, we're here for a week.
In your old bed?
No, not the old bed. My parents don't do the
They're
like.
they're not old school. Like they don't like.
No, they don't
separate?
keep. They don't
Okay,
keep
nice.
the room or anything. They kind of make it like, okay, your room. I think no. My sister was like, "You're the study now," and then with me, it's like, "Yours is the
Nice.
guest room."
Okay.
So like the whole there's
It's
no,
all planned out.
Yeah,
it's all
yeah,
planned
yeah,
out.
yeah.
There's no shrine.
Peppermint on
there's
the
no
pillow.
shrine of you. In
Yeah,
the
no, none of that. My parents were a little too.
That's right.
Maybe they were kind of thinking they'd do that, but then when they were gone, they were kind of like,
No,
"What? So we're
no.
just not going to use the room? We're just
Right.
going to like keep it as there. We got to use this for something."
Yeah.
So Cuban flair to Thanksgiving with all the Velasquezes in one
We're
place.
Colombian. What are
Colombians.
you doing?
I'm sorry, I'm sorry.
Cuban.
Oh, now I'm coming over for
I'm
Thanksgiving.
sorry.
Nobody even touched the turkey.
No, yeah, we're doing like because obviously the older generation they never really Thanksgiving isn't in their bones.
Sure.
So tonight is actually going to be like just a Colombian Thanksgiving get together.
Oh, nice.
Hey.
Well, that's what
An
I want to go
all-nighter at the
to.
Velasquez's.
A little bit of ajiaco. Yeah.
Yes. Wednesday's so much harder than Thursday, dude.
Okay, Nathan, am I seeing this correctly? Is Hollywood starting to turn on Alec Baldwin?
It's a little bit weird. George Clooney came out this week, and you asked me last time we were talking about this. You're like, is this going to go the way of bad news for Alec Baldwin, so he's kind of shoved off to the side and he's an outcast, or is this just going to be lay low for a while and then you come back? And George Clooney came out pretty much saying, first of all, this sounds like amateur hour, this set. He said, everyone is saying that he was given a gun, and the assistant director said cold gun to say it's going to be fine, it's not loaded. George Clooney said, I've directed and produced multiple projects. That's not a term. No one says cold gun. Like, that's not how you give someone a weapon. But then the next thing he said, like, totally threw Alec Baldwin under the bus, saying, if you have worked in the industry as an actor for like a year and you've worked with a weapon, you do not take the person's word that hands you the weapon. You open the chamber. You show the chamber to everyone that you might point it at on the set so that they know that it's going to be safe. So he's like, I have no idea what people on the set were doing or what Alec Baldwin was doing. Just pretty much like
Wow.
like he made no legal thing at all. He pretty much was saying, as someone who has experience in this industry along, that can rival Baldwin's experience, that should have not happened. He said it's infuriating that that type of thing happened.
That's a big person to come out. I feel like when George Clooney speaks, people
because I feel like it's
especially about Hollywood stuff.
Right.
It's because obviously Alec Baldwin's very vocal, so a lot of this on social media has gone political. But I feel like someone like George Clooney stepping in really makes it a lot more neutral. Kind of like, guys, we got to look at this.
This is professionalism.
Yeah. And there was a lawsuit last week. Everyone's getting thrown a bunch of lawsuits, but Baldwin got a lawsuit from the script supervisor this week. The script supervisor is the person who keeps the continuity throughout the entire script. So they're looking at everything that has to happen throughout the life of the project when you're on set. She said, suing him for negligence and questioning, first of all, Baldwin's character wasn't supposed to fire any gun in the movie.
Wow.
Oh, God.
But worse than that, Baldwin's character wasn't ever supposed to have a gun in the movie. So there's no accusation in it. It's pretty much saying, I want Baldwin on the stand answering the question, why did you have a gun? Because you were never supposed to have one. Which makes it a whole, like, before. No, whenever this first happened, like, my thought was like, hey, terrible accident. Part of me feels for everyone involved in that chain of command. Like, after hearing that, it's kind of like, I'm going to go back to neutral here. I'm going to go back to,
let me reset.
See what happens.
I need to reset.
I don't actually have an opinion.
I don't even know if I want an opinion on this. I just
Yeah.
want to see what happens.
Alec Baldwin's a murderer, dude.
Wow.
He had it out.
I don't know. I don't know about that. I just know that
Watch out, YouTube.
Jeez, you just threw that out there, Lloyd. Wow.
Well, dude, why's he picking up guns if you're not supposed to and shooting them?
Well, I mean, part of it is also there were clearly people that, I don't know if it's the type of thing where a director's kind of like, hey, let's try out this new idea that we want to do. That's very common if they want to do that. And then there's clearly people that were prepping the firearms. But it's strange. It's bad.
It feels
bad
like,
detail.
It feels like that would not be in the script. It's like, hey, Alec, actually, you grab the gun and you shoot him. I feel like that would be a major rewrite.
Alec Baldwin has also gotten a lot of fire the last 2 weeks because he seems very tone deaf to what's going on. There's been a lot of, I think there were like 2 articles that were kind of like, Alec Baldwin's been taking his kids to the park, which is, fair to do. It's been over a month since it happened. You don't have to become a hermit. But he, like, looks fine. He looks like perfectly fine. He's been promoting his podcast all over Instagram.
That's what I saw.
That's what.
It's just kind of like, man, you're not making yourself look like you should be favored in this story.
For me, it's him picking up a gun and shooting somebody when he should have been touching guns.
That is an incredible. That's an incredible detail.
No, and you can't claim that. It's like, dude, you were in Hunt for Red October. You've been in this industry for decades.
Sure.
Like, you can't claim ignorance on this. Like, how did you not follow protocol?
Yeah, he's Frank Reynolds on Always Sunny, just picking up guns.
Well, I'm happy that someone is finally bringing up the Baldwin. Why didn't you open the chamber? Like, no one's really been saying that. Like,
why didn't you check the gun?
I just don't get it. I really don't get that wasn't part of his thinking there. It's strange.
Is this gonna play out like publicly, like court stuff?
I feel like whenever, because there still
Hollywood,
haven't been any charges. I feel like once the charges actually come out, because the DA has said there will be charges. It's not going to be like this was an accident. They're just kind of sounding like working out how it's going to happen. But when those come out, I feel like it's going to be
This is wild.
It's going to be wild.
Either way, this will be a mile marker in Hollywood. Like, this will be something that will be talked about forever.
You could tell, you can see the way that they're trying to influence the conversation. Like, Baldwin came out like a week later, kind of like, we need to make sure that we no longer have any type of firearms on set. Like, trying to really push it towards that way. And, like, that got a little bit of traction, but then people were kind of like,
no,
dude, that's not not the problem. Here.
While you're promoting your podcast,
because at that point people are like, so what are we gonna do? We're gonna say no stunt people. People can't jump off of buildings anymore because it's dangerous. People can get injured in thousands of ways.
How would Tom Cruise live if you did that?
Did you see the story about Tom Cruise? So Will Smith, incredible business guy in Hollywood. Like, his on-screen talent rivals his like business prowess in Hollywood.
Wow.
And
Pretty cool.
Incredible whenever it comes to producing. Like, really, really smart guy. And he said that he said, I'm pretty much phenomenal when it comes to press. And by that I mean I can go for almost 20 hours of doing interviews, getting you all the sound bites that you need to promote the projects that need to happen. He said the only person in Hollywood that he can't even match is Tom Cruise. He's like, that guy will go
Are
for
they
almost
they're
40
tight,
hours
too,
straight.
aren't they?
It seems like they.
Sounds like Sting.
It seems like they have a little bit of communication. Also, didn't Will Smith? Weren't we thinking he was in Scientology for a second
Yes,
there?
Yeah.
I thought
I
that was
don't
kind of
know
their
if that's-
connection.
I didn't know if that
Maybe.
was kind of a
Well,
thing that was going on there.
The elite of Hollywood, the
That's a
lifestyle
world.
they
That is
live,
a world.
bro.
They're doing
It's
some
just-
stuff.
I mean, like some stuff that you're like, whoa.
Whoa.
No, I kind of wish. I wish there was like another film industry that had the power of Hollywood, because you know that Hollywood isn't really going to make the projects that reveals
Yes.
the curtain
Yes,
and how
right,
things really
right.
go.
Really pull that onion back.
I know, but it like Tom Cruise is such a weird character, and to
Yes.
hear someone like Will Smith go like, he said he's like a cyborg. He's like, we were on a junket together doing movies at the same time. He's like, we started the same day, same time. I was done after like 24 hours. He was like going off. He had a whole nother day's worth of a schedule ready to
It's
go.
like the
Like,
stories about Michael Jordan when people say he'd stay up all night playing cards and he'd play 36 holes of golf and he'd go out and drop 50 on you.
Yeah.
You know, it was like,
Yeah, and
this
drink-
guy just
and drink
never-
10 beers.
He just never stops. He just never
with
stops.
10 beers in you.
Did you
Jeez.
see the story on Kevin Spacey where he had to give back $31
He's
million?
lost $31 million. Kevin Spacey's a weird guy.
I mean,
Oh,
obviously.
shocker, Nate.
This is
obviously.
Okay, yeah.
Obviously, it was weird.
This is over the Netflix
Disturbed.
series
House of Cards.
House of Cards.
That's also just, and I guess what it. If
Why didn't you give it
got to
back?
get your money wherever you can get your money, whoever you are. But also, like, just filing that lawsuit that's like, hey, you fired me. I lost $31 million. You owe me that money. I was like, dude, we
Back
opened
away,
a hotline
bro.
for people to call in
Back
tips
away.
on you. Like,
So they suspended production on the series,
Right.
and Netflix had to produce their final season. Rather than 12 shows, they had to do 8 shows, and they had to change the entire script.
I didn't even get past the first
On-
I
episode
didn't
of that
even
last
watch-
season.
yeah, I couldn't make
No,
it.
it
either.
wasn't all that.
So
it
they
wasn't
so
so
Netflix sued him.
Netflix sued him, and he had to.
And they
and
won.
he had to fork over $31 million.
He's
Which in
doing-
Kevin Spacey's world, how is that? That's not a lot of money.
I
is
mean,
it?
No, but I don't.
I mean, that
know.
is a lot of money,
but
Kevin
no.
Spacey has no income right now.
Right.
So I have no idea. Like, how much did he have in the
I
bank
mean,
whenever this all happened?
but
got
I mean, he
something
was
coming in.
He was an A-lister for
Yeah, for
Ever.
a while.
Yeah. But
20
also,
years,
well, I
25
wonder if
years.
you're someone like Kevin Spacey and you're all of a sudden like yanked out of the limelight, yanked out of your industry. How much money do you have? Like, how
Right.
long can you last? How old
Right.
is he? He's like maybe in his 50s, 60s, something
How
like
smart
that.
did you invest? You know what I mean? Like with
Yeah.
all that money.
Kevin Spacey does not strike me as the guy that was
he
putting
was
it in
paying.
crypto.
He was paying for weird things on Sunset Boulevard.
Absolutely. I'll just make another movie.
Yeah,
I'll do
right.
another season of House of Cards.
House of Cards, you pay me $30 million a
do this
year.
again. I'll do it for a month.
Kevin, we got another thing where you can play a serial killer. Perfect.
Yeah, I'm in.
Perfect.
I'm in.
Are there any boys
you
in
gotta-
it?
That's right.
Back to Will Smith. Have you seen the new? Are you going to see the new Serena? Like the was it
King Richard.
A tradition we do at the Velasquez house whenever everyone in the family's together, we all go see a movie, whether it's like Christmas, Thanksgiving, like end of the day, we do that. So it's going to be between House of Gucci and King Richard. I might vote
House of
King-
Gucci looks great.
Yeah.
That's
looks
the thing.
great,
I don't
too.
know what to go for in terms of what I'm going to throw in the ring for my vote, but King Richard looks awesome.
He does.
and-
They both
and
look great.
Yeah.
Will Smith is like, I like him in those types of roles. Like, I don't know, like when he was in like Pursuit of Happiness.
He does great,
Like,
like heartwarming.
yeah,
like,
yeah, I love
heartwarming,
the- I
but
love
not
those
overly
roles.
Yeah.
sentimental.
Yeah.
Like it feels real.
Ali.
Still.
Yeah.
Did you see where Will
also
S-
the documentary on the Beatles coming out on Apple TV?
I'm
Did you see that?
pumped.
I'm fired up about
I'm
that.
really pumped
The
for that
behind
one.
the scenes it looks incredible.
It's like never before seen footage.
Yeah.
Peter Jackson's awesome at the documentary
Yes.
format. Like,
I agree.
and I think it's over 3 days. It's like a 3-part event, is what
Yes.
they're saying. Really exciting stuff.
Didn't mean to cut you off.
Oh no worries. It was Will Smith that he came out. I believe it came out on Instagram today. So take that for what it's worth. But that he's had so much sex in his life that he developed like a visceral reaction to after he, I guess, made. I don't know what you want to call it. After he came, he would throw up. Like he got so sick of cheating on his wife and like the life that he was living.
I heard they have an
that
open
he
relationship.
had yes.
You know,
but he
Will
got
Smith
so
is
tired of
so-
doing that, and then
Yeah.
it led to him doing ayahuasca like into the forest. So he's like changed his
Bro.
whole life. Like we talk about Hollywood
The elite of
stuff.
Hollywood.
Yep.
He's like, I'm gonna go do this
elite of
drug,
Hollywood.
and like I think that's what
I'm,
the
gonna-
rumor.
I'm interested how Will Smith kind of like, because he's always like the family guy. I wonder how he
Yeah.
actually packaged that
Right.
information.
That's right.
Dude, you're never gonna believe
Fresh
what I
Prince,
used to do, like-
Fresh Prince reboot.
That's
Okay,
playing
that
so
looks-
much.
That looks a little weird. The Fresh Prince reboot. They're going like the dark route with Fresh
I
Prince.
haven't even seen
Yeah.
anything about it.
Well, they put out a trailer, or they put out like the intro to it the other day, and kind of like the character dives into like a pool, and then he like falls on a throne, and it's kind of like he's kind of like
Whoa.
yeah. It's, what is it? How does that theme go? Like Shit, I'm forgetting the Fresh
West
Prince.
Philadelphia, born and
Right, but it's
raised
kind
on
of
the
like
playground
a-
where I spent
It's
most
like
of
they're
my days
talking it. It's kind of like
chilling
they're
out
talking. It's like
Oh, it's
everything
dark?
changed. Yeah, no, it's like it's kind of like a dark, moody type of thing. So
Wow.
like the Johnny Cash hurt.
On the playground.
yes, it feels
where I
like they're
spent
going
most
for that
of the
type
time.
of
Hey.
yeah.
I don't know if
So
I like that.
No. Like look up the intro to this new
Oh,
reboot.
man.
It looks very.
Are they
strange.
going like True Detective style?
I'm out.
That'd be great. Like what Matthew McConaughey.
Well, no,
shows up
just
for
like
a
the
second.
intro version of it, because it's very like dark and
It's
serious.
got that
Ominous-
flavor.
ominous.
to it.
Ominous.
Yeah.
Ominous. There's a
Will
word.
in the
There's
show
a
just
word.
going. You know that time's just a circle. That's all it is.
When I have sex, I throw
Nathan,
up.
Thanksgiving
Well,
make you think
vomit.
of Thanksgiving make you think of any movies?
So whenever it comes to Thanksgiving, I go planes, trains, and automobiles.
Nice.
Whoa.
Love planes,
Okay.
trains, and automobies.
Yeah,
Always
Steve
felt
Martin
like,
and John Candy. Classic.
Yeah, growing up, I was like, great Christmas movie. But then after a while, you go back to it, and it's like, oh, he's trying to get home for Thanksgiving. Okay, it's a great Thanksgiving movie, awesome Thanksgiving movie, and then
I
also
don't watch that. I didn't watch that.
That's a great
I've
one.
never
it
seen
is.
it.
It's
I watched
it's
when I was
hilarious.
really young.
Really
and
good one-liners.
I wasn't developed enough
To-
mature.
yeah,
Like,
accept it.
Yeah, I wasn't mature enough
yeah.
to get it.
It's a good
It's
rewatch.
really,
I
really
need to
funny.
rewatch
John
it.
Candy's hilarious.
He is.
Him and Steve Martin, absolutely perfect together. Really, really good movie. And then Thanksgiving Charlie Brown, that's a perfect one to throw on TV
Nice.
whenever you're kind of getting ready for the day.
Well done.
Oh, you don't watch football. You know, like this is
It's
for
fun to have
people
on.
that are.
It's
yeah,
fun to
okay.
have on. I really like how. Aren't the Saints playing tomorrow?
Yes.
How's that going to go?
I don't know. Hopefully,
I
it's
don't
better
know.
than we
Nick,
think.
Nick Underhill gave me
No.
no confidence.
No.
He
I
sounded
mean, he said he was looking forward to next year.
right, and he's like, "Well, I haven't checked out on the years." Like, well, it sounds like you have.
Right.
And then he
Nicholas?
says to go and bet on the Saints.
Nicholas.
Nick, I don't want to write this article at all.
Yeah, right. We're going to talk some food. You want to hang out?
Sure, yeah.
All right. Are we going to talk to Chef Jean-Paul Bourgeois? We'll get him on the phone next here. And if you have any food questions, this would be the time to get in. Ask your food questions for the chef. We will get him on the line next and get some last-minute details in here for Thanksgiving. If you're working in the kitchen, if you've got some questions for the chef, now is the time to jump inside of the chat, and we will ask him next year as we're daily brought to you by Go Chevrolet and every day. A-Bear Specialty Meats, remember, with Thanksgiving tomorrow, and if you have any responsibility for bringing food to the table, get over to A-Bears. They can take care of all of it for you. Stop in and pick up a turducken today, pick up a deboned chicken, home of the specialty meats here. Highway 73 in Geismar and opening up today. Today. Robert's
Full of
Grocery
turduckens.
Store in Kenilworth Shopping Center, right next to Superior Bar and Grill. Stop in at Robert's Grocery Stores and pick up your turducken, pick up your specialty meat, because A-Bears has 630 square feet of space right there in the back of Robert's Grocery Store. So if you're shopping today and you're thinking about Thanksgiving, no worries. Right here in Baton Rouge on Kenilworth and Highland Road in the Kenilworth Shopping Center. We are back talking food with the chef, Jean-Paul Bourgeois. Nathan Velasquez is on set. Mikey is here. Jordan is here. Lloyd is here. Happy Thanksgiving from the crew. We'll be right back talking food here on the Jordy Culotta Show, driven and powered by Go Chevrolet. A-Bears Specialty Meats, home to the finest boudin in South Louisiana. Two spots right here in Baton Rouge and out in Prairieville. Stop in and see them in the Dutchtown Shopping Center on Highway 73 or right here in Baton Rouge on Jefferson Highway. Online, abearsmarkets.com, and they're all over social media. You can find them on Facebook. You can find them on Instagram. A-Bears combines perfect seasoning with that authentic Cajun flavor. Find out for yourself. Baton Rouge on Jefferson Highway and in Prairieville on Highway 73. abearsmarkets.com. Go Chevrolet is proud to announce Go Express Auto Sales, the new used car lot located in the capital city of Baton Rouge, Louisiana, at 11522 Florida Boulevard. Go Express Auto Sales is online at goexpressautosales.com, or you can search them on Facebook and social media at Go Express Auto Sales, the newest addition to the family of Go Chevrolet. Remember, Go Chevrolet is located down in Laplace, Louisiana, but now welcoming aboard Go Express, the new used car lot located in Baton Rouge, Louisiana at 11522 Florida Boulevard. A-Bears Specialty Meats, home to the finest boudin in South Louisiana. Two spots right here in Baton Rouge and out in Prairieville. Stop in and see them in the Dutchtown Shopping Center on Highway 73 or right here in Baton Rouge on Jefferson Highway. online, abearsmarkets.com, and they're all over social media. You can find them on Facebook. You can find them on Instagram. A-Bears combines perfect seasoning with that authentic Cajun flavor. Find out for yourself. Baton Rouge on Jefferson Highway and in Prairieville on Highway 73. abearsmarkets.com. All right, welcome back here to the Jordy Culotta Show, driven and powered by Go Chevrolet. We are supposed to be getting our chef.
Is Chef already in the kitchen, dude?
I don't know what's going on with the chef here.
How early
cooking?
I talked to him last night. We were good to go.
I'll check his Instagram. Sometimes he's out on
He's very busy.
He's out at
He
camp.
did say
Is
that
this
this is a busy deal.
your brother, Lloyd? This
No,
show? Okay.
that would be high praise for Sean.
Yes.
This is a real. Sean can't cook, but he's
My
not,
brother's a pretend cook.
Yeah, yes, he would be the first one to say not a chef, but chef. Would you get that chef title, dude? It's like a doctor. They respect it.
Yeah, very much so. Chef?
Chef.
Yep.
Yes, chef.
Yeah.
Chef?
Yes, chef.
Doctor, chef, yeah.
On your left, chef.
I'm all in. All right, if we get the chef, we will patch him into the conversation. But it's good to see Nathan. We were having some conversation on the break about some of the documentaries, some of the movies.
He
that
posted
are out
25
there.
minutes ago.
Did he really?
Frying a turkey. This is what we needed to talk about.
25 minutes ago.
Maybe
So
he
he's-
thought are y'all doing a show tomorrow?
So he's in the kitchen.
No show.
I think we should. I really do.
Okay.
What time?
I
No,
feel
see,
Jordy's,
I'm out.
Jordy's the one that during the
I'm
breaks
gone
are kind
today.
of like hey guys, what are we
He's
doing
the-
tomorrow?
He's the cool kid that gets invited to other people's like Thanksgivings. Like, oh, Jordy's gonna come by at like 6. Like, yeah, have him come by. And then he's like, oh, I don't know. My family doesn't care if I'm here. I did 2 hours. Jordy hops on the bike and gets to go wherever he wants when he's a kid.
No one knows where Jordy is, but he's everywhere.
Exactly. Yeah, but every other
exactly.
parent wants
Well,
him at their
Anthony
house.
Bourdain.
There you go. There you go.
Yeah.
Hey.
He's always showing up with a cocktail.
Who knew
Yeah.
him? Nobody did.
Yeah, but he's cool. Like
Yeah,
every
right.
parent's like, oh, Jordy could come over for sure.
He was everywhere, but Lloyd wasn't at work on Thanksgiving. We do know that. We do know that.
I could stay.
Okay, we expect you here at
Whoa.
7.
I can stay.
What's the bet?
Back on Black Friday though, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Well,
Okay,
no, that's
for
my annual. That's my annual day to quit.
sure. Is that when you quit on it? Tell them the story.
Oh
You quit
yeah.
on,
So I worked at Richard's.
oh, here we go. Here we go. Here we
Yes,
go. Here we
chef.
go. No,
bail
tell
me
the
out.
story though.
I worked at Richard's Sporting Goods, the old Dick's right there, and I was working at Guarantee at the same time. And it turns out that they needed a producer for the morning show, and that was like my
Hey, buddy.
first chance to like cut my teeth and like actually
All good,
produce
all good. I knew you
something.
were busy.
And
We'll
it was
back
the
up to
day they wanted me to start Black Friday. They wanted me to start that day, and and Richards had already scheduled out everybody. It was going to be a fucking murder scene. Like
Sure.
everything, like when I saw the schedule, I was like, oh my God, dude, like 12 p.m. to 12 a.m. Like absolutely not. So I was already in the back of my head, like if I can get out of this is going to be awful, but I'll do it. And they called me. It's like, we need you here at 4 a.m. to start like the morning show and you can produce it every day. And I was like, I'm going to have to make a very difficult phone call here in about 30 minutes, but I'll do it. And that's how I had to quit. Like, technically, I guess Thanksgiving or like the day before, but the day before we were supposed to start our shift, like probably 6 hours before I was supposed to start, I had to phone call into Richards and talk to the manager, the one guy I didn't want to answer that doesn't didn't like me really.
Hey, Lloyd, we're excited for tomorrow morning.
What did he say? What did he say?
Boots on the ground.
I told him that. I leveled the truth with him, and he was like, you know that there's a thing called a 2 weeks notice, and I was like, feels like we're kind of past that point right now. Like I'm not gonna be there, so what are you gonna fight? Like you can't threaten me. Like I'm quitting.
No.
So, but
Goodbye,
like,
Richard.
Goodbye. Don't ever come
Goodbye,
here again.
Dick.
I left my 6
Wow,
iron
that's
there,
a tough.
and I had to go back and get it
No.
because I was.
Wait, you left your what?
6 iron. I worked in the golf department, so I would just hit balls in the simulator, and they would have to tell me to stop like 15 times. Like, look, there's nobody here, and so I had forgotten my club, and I had to go back and get it. And you would have thought they were walking Billy the fucking Kid in. It was like
they
everybody
escorted you?
knew
They
me.
escorted you?
Like as soon as I got there, they're like, "Oh, okay, what are you doing?" I was like, "Dude, I'm just getting the
Yeah, man, watch
hey,
out, bro.
get
Get my
over
stuff
it. It's
back.
dicks.
Wow,
We're
you're
good.
shunned.
You know, every now and then they're
you're
kind of like, hey,
exiled.
you remember Lloyd? You remember that Lloyd kid? Like,
Yeah,
don't even
fucking
get me started.
jackass.
The turncoat.
Yeah.
Chef Jean-Paul Bourgeois is very busy here the day before Thanksgiving. We have patched up with our chef here on this pre-Thanksgiving show. Chef, good morning. How are you? Happy Thanksgiving.
Good morning, team. Happy Thanksgiving to everyone.
Yes, sir. From a chef's point of view, how awesome is tomorrow's holiday?
I'm sorry. Repeat that.
Okay.
How
okay.
what?
From a chef's point of view, how great is Thanksgiving the holiday?
I give it a 5 on my holiday thing. No, I mean I would say a 5 to a 7 depending on the year. I like Thanksgiving. It's fine. It's fine.
Too much
I
work?
get tired of the food. Be honest with you.
See,
Like,
I'm with
most
you.
of the food that-
I'm with you.
Okay.
Most of the food that's served in Thanksgiving, even though you only eat it once a year, for the most part, I'm like, I still get tired of it.
I'm with you.
Even for the day. So I'm always trying to kind of reinvent the wheel for Thanksgiving.
Okay.
Sometimes it's successful, sometimes it's a miserable fail. But I do like, obviously I like the family time. I like Savannah come, whether it's in Texas or Louisiana, and spend time with folks and friends and so on. Gives me an excuse to go back home and duck hunt or find a new place to duck hunt, while I'm there and so on. So.
Speaking of duck hunting, Duck Camp Dinners starts. The production starts on Friday of this week. This is a very busy week for the chef. Squeezing us in here for a couple of minutes here on this Wednesday. The Bourgeois crew is obviously overloaded down in South Louisiana around the bayou. Are you expected to cook the whole menu tomorrow, being the chef status?
No,
Okay.
no,
Okay.
not at all.
Okay.
Whatever,
because
dude. They pull him in so fast.
Well, most of the reason why is because of those dishes that we have every year that are like family things. That's kind of for other folks to make.
It's their time to flex
has
their
their
muscle.
role.
That's
Everybody
right.
has their role.
We got it, Jean-Paul.
Yeah.
We got it.
Yeah.
Chase my mac and cheese.
I fry the turkey and I'm roasting some Wagyu short ribs in the oven.
Oh.
That's my contribution. So
Nice.
fried turkey and beef
What a
short
flex.
ribs.
Wow.
Jimmy,
And I'm making a cake right now
What
for
kind?
my wife and my dad. It's actually a half and half cake. The whole cake part is just like rich dark chocolate cake, but then half the icing is coconut cream cheese. The other half is going to be German chocolate.
Wow, that sounds amazing.
Which one's which?
What?
Who wanted which
coconut
side?
cream cheese.
Oh.
Yeah, coconut cream cheese for my wife, German chocolate for my dad.
Wow,
Okay.
that sounds amazing.
make sure you are following the chef on Instagram at Chef Jean _Paul to keep up with all of his Instagram photos. In fact, we saw you just drop a turkey into the fryer or just pick one out. What is the what's the secret? What's how are you frying your turkeys for Thanksgiving?
Yeah, the secret is with most foods, and I've made this mistake a dozen times with fried turkeys, is just to keep it simple. And so my injection I make is butter, hot sauce, a little Worcestershire, and some Cajun seasoning. That's my thing. I've put beer, honey, cane syrup.
Yeah.
I've put all kind of herbs and different things and blah, 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 blah. And none of them turn out as good as the one on that video that you just saw. And so it's 4 ingredients in the injection. It's salt on the skin. I do that the day before I fry it. And then it's, 350 degrees peanut oil for 15, 3 minutes a pound or so and that's about 45 minutes. And really that's what gives it this golden brown crispiness. All the other complexities that you may put on a rub on the outside of the turkey or in an injection inside, like they tend to make the turkey dark. Because there's different sugars like in beer and obviously in honey and cane syrup. And what that does, it darkens the oil too fast and then darkens the skin, and then it doesn't look pretty. It doesn't get crispy. And I've made that mistake a dozen times. And then once I started scaling back my method, it started coming out better and better. So just don't overcomplicate things. And if you inject it right, you fry it at the right time, it's going to be, crispy, juicy, and everything you love, and totally better than a roasted turkey, in my opinion.
Amen.
I gave that shit up years ago.
Yes.
So.
Yes.
Is it that much better, a fried turkey?
Absolutely. I think
100%. I agree. I think 100% better than a roasted turkey.
Is it the skin? Is it the skin?
The skin's one thing.
Yeah.
It's also like getting that buttery injection all the way down to the bones and the breastplate and the leg and thighs. It just makes for a much more delightful eating than most of like the kind of mundane roasted turkey, in my opinion.
Because that was going to be my question. Is there's obviously fried turkey is obviously like it seems like something that people would want, but isn't that what you're afraid of? Is having a dry turkey at Thanksgiving? As you wanted to keep it moist, what have you? I wanted to ask you that question that you just answered, but then I wanted to say, how did turkey even start for Thanksgiving? Like, how did that become the bird of choice? Do you know?
Well, turkeys were once the only indigenous poultry, if you will, to the Americas. The chickens are not indigenous. They were brought over and farmed and cultivated. And so is guinea hens, which were brought in from Africa. So turkeys were for a long time America's,
Are cows ours?
I don't know about that, but it was really like their our thing that we had around a lot, and you can find them in every state except for 2, Alaska and Hawaii. Wow. So that was I think historically, before chickens came into the process and mass farming came into the process, turkeys were it. And so that's why you see a lot more. There's somewhat of a renaissance in terms of a renaissance in the hunting and outdoor world to really go shoot a couple turkeys in the spring, eat one in the spring, save one for Thanksgiving for the fall. And you see this other side of these heritage breeds turkeys that you can't find in grocery stores, that you have to go out to like very specific turkey farms and different farmers markets that are selling these old school breeds of heritage turkeys that used to exist in abundance in America. They're kind of bringing those back and trying to make something better than what you can find in the grocery store. However, when you inject it with enough butter, hot sauce, and Cajun
does it
seasoning,
really matter?
Doesn't matter.
Does it really matter?
It's just a vehicle.
I'm not sure, but I'm gonna just keep injecting away there.
Hashtag Ask Chef. Chef from Jimmy Magoo. Do you have a good crumble recipe to top a sweet potato casserole? Trying to step my game up for my marshmallows.
Man, it's been a while since I've made one, and I'm one of those people that I rarely use a recipe unless it's for desserts. But in this case, I really like to incorporate different, maybe like spiced almonds, quartered pecans, maybe cashews into those crumbles. You can make great ones with like oats and flour and sugar and vanilla and cinnamon and so on. But I think once you start adding the nuts, you get not just more texture and crunchy texture, but you get those toasted notes of all those nuts being to add to that crumble. So I think that's a good way to step up your game. If you're already using nuts, the likelihood of using you're probably only using one. Maybe that's almonds or pecans. So try to experiment with doing a mix: walnuts, pecans, almonds. Maybe it's even pistachios to add some richness and color to that dish. And just be playful with it. The nuts will add different flavors, but it'll also add a deep, deep crunchiness and texture to that, soft and sweet and delicate sweet potato marshmallow thing you got going on.
Hashtag Ask Chef Daniel Glenn. We were going to do the big Thanksgiving with the family this season, but COVID hit on Monday, so the girlfriend and I are just doing Cornish hens at the house tomorrow instead. Chef, any ideas for a good sauce on the side?
Ooh, I love a good Cornish hen. So nice work on that. So I would probably, I like Cornish hens with something if I was going to make. So one of the things that I like to do for Thanksgiving, I probably won't do it this year. When I make turkey gravy, I'll bake biscuits in the morning, and we'll eat biscuits in the morning, like whatever. And I'll save stale biscuits, and I'll just make a really good turkey stock. In your case, you can make a really good roasted chicken stock. So you probably don't have enough bones or trim to make for roasted Cornish game. And so just go buy some chicken necks and chicken legs and chicken drums and roast them up real dark. Make a good turkey stock, and then strain your turkey stock and take those old biscuits and blend them into the turkey stock. And it's a really nice way to thicken that without making a roux, without doing.
Wow.
And you get all the buttery stuff that you get from those great biscuits. Other than that, you could do something like a vermouth and cream and roasted mushroom sauce if you don't want to go ahead and make the turkey stock. So I would maybe take some shallots. I would roast some mushrooms first, add some shallots, thyme, bay leaf, deglaze with white wine, deglaze with vermouth. Maybe add some chicken stock to that and a little cream and butter, and that'll thicken. And then you have a really good roasted mushroom and shallot, vermouth, kind of creamy sauce that you can pour over that Cornish game hen or eat on the side.
Hashtag Ask Chef. Jordan Peck has a two-part question for you, Chef. What is what is with mac and cheese getting a bad rep, and what makes the perfect mac and cheese?
Ooh.
Well, so sorry, I'm one of those people that
I had a feeling.
Mac and cheese.
Mac and cheese just doesn't do it for me.
Okay. Ever?
Now, hardly ever.
Okay.
Most mac and cheeses I have are I feel like are a waste of appetite for me.
Okay.
But then I grew up with baked spaghetti. Who in here grew up with the baked spaghetti kind of thing?
I've definitely had.
So you don't consider that mac and cheese?
No, I don't consider that mac and cheese. But I think there's two people in this world. There's two people.
Is so good.
They're the people that like the creamy style mac and cheese. That is like what you might grow up eating out the box, or that it has like a sauciness to it. Then there's one that baked with a crumble on top. I think you can have. I think the really good mac and cheese that I like are the things that you like most out of both of those recipes combined. Right, it has a creaminess to the interior. It has some texture and character on top by being baked. To me, that's what makes the best mac and cheese. Is not just saying I'm team creamy or I'm team baked and crispy. It's finding that middle portion and being, Switzerland, if you will, in that debate. But really, I nostalgically, I love a really good baked spaghetti with, it has that cream and cheese in the center, and you bake it, and you almost cut it in squares. For some reason, even though I've had tastier mac and cheeses, those baked spaghetti kind of casseroles, I just kind of resonate with me more.
Golly. That takes me back to high school spring break.
Yeah,
there you go.
For breakfast.
The baked spaghetti.
The 4 a.m. baked
Just
spaghetti.
put it in the microwave, bro. I'm in.
It's still good. Wait, so do you have a noodle preference? Is it the elbow noodle versus the spaghetti? Is that what's your hang up?
Well, no. I mean, so if I'm doing a traditional, I like a shell or a macaroni for that, because I want to have some creamy texture, and the shell and macaroni can really hold it in and create those cavities for it. If for a baked spaghetti, I'm doing spaghetti, whether it's angel hair or just a regular spaghetti noodle. But if I'm going to create what most people want out of mac and cheese, then I'm going to use a macaroni or a shell, something or anything that has even a fusilli, the spiral thing, is good, because that can capture. Yes. That can capture that cheese sauce a little better.
Hashtag Ask Chef Jean-Paul Bourgeois. Favorite side for Thanksgiving?
Clearly not mac and cheese.
Yes.
No, my family makes what's called spinach madeleine, and that's probably my favorite side. I don't know anybody else who eats. I'm sure, and I know in South Louisiana there are a number of other families that eat it. We eat it for Christmas and Thanksgiving. It's the only side that I don't get tired of, that I could probably eat more than 5 times a year. But it's essentially a cream spinach that's a little tighter, It's not as like loose and creamy. It's more like a casserole style cream spinach, so it sets up a little better in that casserole pan. And it's got a little kick to it. I know my family uses like jalapeno cream cheese or jalapeno pepper jack cheese in the recipe, and then it's baked with some light breadcrumb. And similar to that mac and cheese, the reason why I like that is the contrasting textures of creamy and rich against that crispy texture of the baked thing. But for some reason, fried turkey, or even roasted turkey for that matter, with a nice spoonful of that spinach Madeleine always hits the spot for me.
Absolutely. And the second appearance in the line makes more sense than the first one. We're all looking for like the leftovers tomorrow,
that's
right?
what I'm concerned that I don't think he'll agree because he doesn't.
Yeah, because he doesn't like Thanksgiving.
It's such a traditional Thanksgiving so far.
Yeah, I mean, it's traditional in my family. You know,
True.
It's not. I
But
mean,
it's
do
not
y'all
sandwich
eat?
style.
No, it's not sandwich style. Do y'all do sandwich style Thanksgiving?
We do
For
sandwich
the
style
second-
leftovers.
second
the
meal.
leftovers,
for
like
for the second helping.
After you walk
Yeah.
the dog.
in between lunch and
Yeah.
dinner,
Yeah.
whatever.
Which to me is what I'm looking forward to the most tomorrow. The sit around the table and the fake conversation is what I'm trying to dodge. I'm trying to get to
Walk
the
the
football
dog.
games and eat the sandwiches for God's
Me
sake.
and my cousin took the dog for a
Yes.
walk.
Chef, now the $1 million. Oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
No, I was going to say we also got this really first time we've done this on a Thanksgiving. It's got a smoked ham from Clarence, Louisiana, in North, and out of Grayson's Barbecue. I had never heard
shout
of the
out.
town until my mom asked me about it, and I was like, shoot, let's try it out. And we got it in yesterday. It looks like a prime ham that I'm excited to
That's
dig
a hell of an
into.
endorsement.
And that's
Oh,
one
yeah.
of the things
Close to
I love.
Natchitoches?
I think so. It's somewhere in that middle to north area of Louisiana.
Simla.
They didn't even know.
Simla.
They had never heard
thing
the
is
name
legend.
bourgeois. They had never heard the name bourgeois before
Oh,
when
wow.
we gave them our name for the thing. So
Borgias?
that kind of shows you that separation of
Yeah,
South and
no
North
doubt.
Louisiana.
Did they give the pronunciation? Do we have a pickup for Borgias?
For Jesus.
Hello,
He's offended.
Chef.
Wow,
Did we lose the chef?
you pissed them off.
Chef? Good job, Nathan.
I didn't say anything. Maybe that was the problem.
All right, we lost the chef. I guess we
Call him back real quick,
lost
just so
him
you
real
don't want to
quick.
end on bad terms.
Well, do you
No,
guys
right,
do you
right,
guys
right,
have
right,
an
right.
item on the Thanksgiving table that you would say is the most overrated? Like what is that for you?
Is it yams? Not yams.
I'm not a yams guy.
No, the cranberry.
Yeah, I'm not a cranberry
cranberry
guy.
guy.
I'm not even a big for what they put out, like what's on the Thanksgiving table. Nothing that really moves the needle for me.
I'm not really
That's
into
what
the
I'm
sweet
saying. I'm
potato.
with
I'm
you.
not into sweet potato that much. I
Yeah,
can't
I
get
think that'd be
excited about
I
it.
think that'd be
Oh,
like
you
the
know what
yams.
happened? I know what happened.
What happened?
Chef, are you there? Chef.
Yo,
Yeah, you know what happened? I know exactly what happened. They started my car. My Bluetooth picked up outside.
no.
That is my fault. That is my fault. Sorry about that. The $1 million question. We will get you out of here on this one. Everybody wants to know who's going to be LSU's next head football coach.
I'm pulling for Aranda to be the coach.
Okay.
That's kind of where my head's at with it. I don't know. What do you? I was curious about this when I was jumping on this call. Is what y'all thought about it? You know, what it was.
I kind of think that a
there's
deal
a
is
lot of,
done.
There's a lot of curtains and smoke screens up
Yes,
there.
there
is.
are. Yes, there are.
There is. I kind of think a
And
deal
I'm,
is
I'm
done.
curious of what the inside folks, the most people most knowledgeable about LSU athletics. think about
Yeah, we hate to show our ass on this because nobody really
Nobody
knows,
knows
man.
anything.
But I think a deal is done with Lincoln Riley. I kind of get the feeling after the Florida job opened that LSU's hand was almost kind of forced that they had to show that they got a deal in place. And if there's a deal in place, I kind of think that's with Lincoln Riley. And I think that
that would
Florida's
excite me too.
Yeah, yeah,
I like Lincoln Riley.
you'll have
Yeah.
offense. You'll have instant offense. Real quick before we get out of here, tell me about Duck Camp dinners. I know production starts on Friday. What should we
Yeah.
expect?
We shoot season 2 Duck Camp dinners on Friday after Thanksgiving. We're pumped and jacked to do it. We've prepared our butt off, and now we can just not care and have fun, right? Like
nice.
that's the two part of this is like prepare, then don't care and just have a good time.
Study for the
And
test.
so we're gonna do it. We're gonna do it in South Terrebonne. We're gonna have a couple episodes in South Terrebonne, a couple episodes in Venice, a couple episodes in Southwest Louisiana. We're covering the entire Cajun coast, everything from its duck, its people, its food, and its music, and everything in between. It's gonna be rad, guys. I'm really pumped.
We are fired up. We can't wait to watch it. We've got a new studio down here in Baton Rouge. And so the next time you come to South Louisiana to Baton Rouge, we got to get you over, man.
Has a kitchen.
Have a great
to do it.
Yeah, have a great Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving, guys.
Happy
See ya.
Thanksgiving.
See you. There is Jean-Paul Bourgeois checking in.
Put that bag of
this
candy
morning.
away.
We got to eat this candy.
No, I'm not
No,
eating
dude,
that
come
candy.
on. You
No,
have
I'm
to
not.
try it.
No way.
What is
You
that?
have
Is
to
that
try
candy?
it.
Why don't you tell people what this candy is?
You did that first. It is.
Tell the people what you want us to eat.
It's from Willy Wonka. It's turkey.
It's not from Willy Wonka.
It's a turkey dinner,
and
apple pie, and a coffee. So you get your meal.
Ugh.
And it's in
You get your dessert, and you get your coffee after.
That
I
makes
This
think
is like
my
the candy
stomach.
company's leftover
You-
Thanksgiving.
you-
Day.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Everything that they have.
You know
left.
who
Sweep
should
the
eat
floor.
it? You
Yeah.
should eat it. Eat it.
I'm gonna. I'll taste it.
I'm not
I
I'll
hate
taste
candy
it.
corn. I can't. I
Oh,
mean,
well,
like, I know
candy
that's
corn too.
Well, this is
My
why
wife
you're
loves
right
candy
because
corn,
it's
actually.
candy corn. They
wow.
had too
Allie
much
loves
surplus.
candy. I hate it.
Dude,
She
that's
loves
a red
it.
flag.
She loves it.
I only eat it.
But she only eats it during Halloween.
Halloween. Oh, dude, if she had it, I can't. Mikey, open this.
Oh, that's.
He's setting you up, dude.
Yep.
Oh,
not eating
no,
it.
no.
I'm not
He's
eating it.
setting you up.
Who would do
You
such
gotta
a
go
thing?
corner?
I would never, dude.
That's
That was very easy to open. Watch yourself.
That doesn't even smell good.
I'm not.
Watch yourself. Does it
Here,
not
Pass it down. I
smell
don't want to
good?
throw
Eat
it.
it. Everybody take a piece. You have to have an entire meal.
turkey, and
Good catch,
what?
Lloyd.
Thank you.
Coffee,
Apple
turkey,
pie.
and what? Oh my god!
I don't know which one's the coffee. And
Doesn't
In a
which one-
bag?
It doesn't smell good either.
It smells like soap.
I'm gonna eat all of them. I'm gonna have a bite of
Probably
turkey.
is soap.
Funnel them into your mouth.
No, lady.
Give the long pour.
I don't know which flavor's which.
Taking me.
I'll guess.
Oh, they're not all mixed? Yeah, what is that?
Coffee. Keep that coffee.
You don't
smell
like
outta
that
here,
one. You
bro.
don't look at his
Yeah,
face.
that's
You just-
Coffee.
disgusting.
Doesn't like
I
that
went
one.
coffee first.
That is
Starting the day. That was
disgusting, dude.
gross.
That
How
is
much was
so
that bag? Like a
grossy.
quarter?
I don't know, man.
I can smell that bag, dude.
What?
Close that.
What color?
Is that-
Why is there a green one?
Oh,
Turkey,
see, tell me what it is.
apple pie.
Bro,
There's apple pie.
Is there a dead body in there?
The CEO calls whoever made this into the. Why is there a green one? What's the green one?
What is that?
What is the green one?
They don't know
Tell
what
me,
it
You're
is.
eating it.
Bro, this is so gross.
Apple pie.
I told you it was gross.
Thank you.
Where did you get that?
Rebecca bought it. She thought it'd be a good bit for the show.
Yeah.
I thought everybody
was.
would do it.
It's like in the
Oh,
back
look what
corner
happened.
of
Now
a
you're
like
stuck.
CVS
It's a good bit,
shelf.
but it's your bit. Oh, you like that one? Apple
Pie is good.
Apple pie,
Apple
duh.
pie is good.
Duh.
Which
Go
one?
on.
What color is that?
Red, dude.
Of
Try,
course.
try a red.
No
Here,
way. No
somebody try a
way.
red.
No way.
Trust me and try a red.
No chance, bro. Before we get out of here,
Yeah, you'll try
and
one.
I am not ending. I do not want to end on a somber note, but I have to get this said. Rest in peace, Cecil Hurt. Cecil Hurt is from the Tuscaloosa News and covered the University of Alabama football since 1982. He was on the beat Bear Bryant's last season, and Cecil Hurt was one of these figures that you would see at SEC Media Day and LSU Alabama games and throughout college football playoffs and all over the place, that you almost wanted to meet him because he was like a myth. He was like when you were in the presence of him, you were almost like, wow, the amount of knowledge that this guy has is incredible. And it wasn't just about Alabama football, which he was obsessive and passionate about. It was really just kind of like worldly stuff. Books, politics, movies, things, albums, records, music. I mean, things that were off the path. He loved New Orleans. He loved South Louisiana. He loved the LSU Alabama game to come down a couple of days early and get in a car and go eat in places like White Castle and Plaquemine and Breaux Bridge and Lafayette and
The spots.
places
The good
throughout the
spots.
South where he would learn about it. He would tell you stories about watching the Beatles play in the first time in the South at a concert, watching the Rolling Stones play at Coleman Coliseum on the University of Alabama's campus, on watching Elton John play at the Maravich Center, where him and his buddies just got in a car and came and watched in like the 1970s. He was an encyclopedia of knowledge and had great wit and great humor. And I'll never forget the day that he followed me on Twitter as a young, up-and-coming. He was a journalist. I am not, or consider myself a journalist. I was getting into electronic broadcasts. I was getting into radio, and early on in the process in radio, I remember Cecil Hurt. I saw Cecil Hurt followed you, and I read his work for so long. I almost considered it like a validation point in my career. And I told him that at SEC Media Days the next year I saw him, and I must have been young. I was young in the game. I was 2 or 3 years into it. And since that point, he always would go out of his way to say something to me. We wouldn't stop, sit down and have dinner or have conversation, but he would just say something to the fact of, I'm keeping up with you. Like the Dick Vitale thing he loved. Like when I saw him at the next SEC Media Day, he laughed when I was walking up to him, and I had no idea what he was going to say. I mean, I really didn't. And he had this smile on his face where I thought he was going to kind of bust my balls a little bit about something. And he said, "You crazy son of a bitch, man."
That's one way to do it.
If anybody can take on the old guard, I guess that's one way to do it, kind of something to that effect. And it was shocking to see that he had passed away yesterday. And Cecil Hurt was Tuscaloosa news. That's the only reason why people really read that publication and for the longest time respected that publication. I don't know how Tuscaloosa News exists without Cecil Hurt being a part of it, but somehow I believe that they will carry on his legacy. But the fact that he passed away on and during the Iron Bowl week, the week of Alabama-Auburn, and how much he meant to that game. Nick Saban said that there were 2 media members that he had to meet when he was introduced as the University of Alabama's head football coach. And it was Paul Feinbaum and Cecil Hurt. And Cecil Hurt worked for the Tuscaloosa News, which was the local newspaper that covered Alabama football. And I'm not making this an Alabama football segment because I didn't even know the strength that he carried until I really followed him and met him within that state. I always just was kind of a young broadcaster and wanted to make sure that I knew how to talk about Alabama football because I knew it meant something to LSU. And I would just read Cecil Hurt's work. And you could tell that he was connected, and you could tell that he was witty, and you could tell that he was smart, and you could tell that he was just really interesting. And at the end of it, he was really an interesting dude. And I don't know him well enough to speak on him personally, but I read a lot of the words that he wrote, and I shared just kind of like micro moments with him at events like LSU Alabama, SEC championship games where he would be covering the conference for the Tuscaloosa News, even if Alabama wasn't in the game. And events like, obviously, SEC Media Days. And he made a huge impact on me as just a professional. And to see him pass away at the young age of 62 was devastating. Now, I think people that saw him at SEC Media Days just a couple of months ago really were kind of anticipating, and it felt almost if it was inevitable that the end was near. He was struggling. He was in a bad spot. And to see him in Hoover that last time was pretty cool, and to shake his hand and just kind of, he shot me back a wink and a nod to kind of say, hey, man, it's good to see you. He didn't have the strength or the power to really kind of get into a lot of stuff, but everybody was coming up to him. Everybody was shaking his hand. Everybody was kind of really and truly paying their last respects. And to see that he passed away the week of the Iron Bowl, I don't think can be lost on just the impact and how much he meant to not only that state and not only that rivalry, but really the SEC and the Southeastern Conference. He had multiple opportunities to become a very wealthy man writing and covering college football. When the digital age hit and when newspapers were really blowing up and when periodicals were dying and people were going to the internet and people were going to, paywalls and getting behind places that had big money, Cecil Hurt was courted, was called, was recruited by everybody. Everybody. SEC Network, when it launched, and he stayed at the Tuscaloosa News and kept that place and that publication just relevant and respected. And it was because of him. And I don't think anybody that works there today would tell you any different, nor would they have a problem saying that at all. I mean, he was the Tuscaloosa news. And to wake up today and see that he had passed away, and he passed away yesterday, and I know that Aaron Suttles, who meant a lot to him, actually started off at Tuscaloosa News and worked at AL.com and now covers Alabama football for The Athletic, was on Feinbaum yesterday, kind of remembering some of the stories from Cecil. And they really grew up, Suttles grew up just under the wing of Cecil Hurt. I mean, car rides and press conferences and press luncheons and, you know, things where there's not a lot of stuff that's happening. There's a lot of dead time or a lot of downtime. And he told some of the stories, and it was exactly who I thought he was, somebody that knows him very, you know, firsthand account. And the impact that he made on me was who he was. I mean, that's who he was. And it was very, like I said, it was, I don't want to make it more than it was, because it was very micro moments of Cecil's life and my life. But those short impacts were felt forever. And like I said, I'll never forget waking up. I remember where I was, when it was, young in the game, waking up and just kind of going through the, you know, the start of the day mode for people who read their news off of, you know, Twitter or your phone. And I saw come across that Cecil Hurt followed you overnight, and thought to myself, I'm doing the right thing. Like, I'm in the right business. Like, I am.
Yeah, like you said, it's validation.
I'm going to keep.
It's like,
I'm
okay,
gonna,
I'm doing. I think
I'm going to keep doing
right
what I'm
way.
doing. Yes, I mean, to get kind of his.
That's a
just
welcome to the league moment.
Allegiance,
Yeah.
right? Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Was you made it. You know, kind of like keep doing what you're doing.
Everybody
And
has those welcome to the league, and that's awesome.
It
Still
was
waiting for Jordy to follow me, so we'll get there.
Get your ass to work tomorrow. You know what I mean?
Eat your
See if that
Thanksgiving.
happens. So thank you for that, giving me that moment here and closing out today's show. We'll be off tomorrow. We may be back with you tomorrow. We'll see.
Who
what happens.
knows?
Yeah, who knows?
I won't be here.
So y'all
you will
do-
not be here.
Thanksgiving with the Christmas tree up at the house?
No, we don't do Christmas.
We're not
we don't
hosting.
do Thanksgiving. We're not hosting.
No, but I'm saying, but is this like? Is it
They go
going
home to
be,
the coach. They go home to the Christmas tree.
That's what I'm saying. Is it going to be at the house that you go to?
My mom has it up, but
Yeah.
she doesn't host it either.
Well,
My Uncle
where
Robbie
you go?
hosts it.
And
Uncle
so no
Robbie.
Christmas tree
No
there.
Christmas tree there. I don't think so. I don't know.
Uh-uh.
No, they can't have that yet.
No,
They need all the space.
That's what I was learning.
They're probably making the Christmas tree an event too. You know what I
yeah.
mean? Come over, eat, hang,
Nobody
pay your
touched-
debts.
Nobody
Pay
touched-
your debts.
Couple games on
Nobody
tonight.
touched the topper. Robbie's got the topper. Nobody touch it.
Does Maurice have a specialty dish?
No, actually, you would.
He's
probably
not.
Think that he
Yeah,
would.
I
He doesn't
kinda
have a
thought that he
specialty dish.
would.
No.
Is he
no
cook? Is he chef?
The mom's the cook.
Okay,
Mom's
that
the
makes a
cook.
lot
Yeah,
more
yeah.
sense. You bringing
he's
anything?
Enjoying, he's in, what was that?
You bringing anything?
Well, I'm kind of there already. Although I do think
Just
we are
the
making
entertainment,
stuffing.
huh?
We're making
Just
stuffing.
okay,
Yeah, no,
okay.
they're happy to have me there.
Yeah,
That's
right.
how that goes.
You're
right.
the attraction.
Your
not
presence
Nathan.
is the present.
Don't move your feet. Here is your plate, and I cut up your
Anything
turkey
else you
for
need?
you.
Anything
I
else?
actually
Shows for
made your
imagination,
I made your leftover roll for you,
The,
Nathan.
actually, he has someone dabbing the corners of his mouth.
It
That's
probably
right.
is how that is though,
Yes.
because he lived in Los
Turkey's
Angeles.
overcooked, Dad.
Yeah.
There's too many people visiting that I'm kind of lost in the shuffle. I'm in the crowd of y'all are visiting.
Well, here's the deal.
so-
Also, it's like it's South Louisiana. You're in South Louisiana. Like they don't care. You could be the president of the United States. If I go back home to my family, they know me as like growing up me. They don't
Yeah.
know
Right.
me as
Kid.
what's going
Oh, yeah.
on.
The
No,
kid
So
version
you're
of
not
you.
getting any
Yeah.
type of like no.
Absolutely.
You're getting the opposite.
Tuck your shirt in, Mike.
Yeah,
You look like
exactly.
shit.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's more
what
of what
you're
it's like. The
getting.
reminder of like the man.
Oh,
I guess
that-
that's
It
not
brings you
too-
back down, but you need that. Brings you back down.
Oh
there.
yeah. Oh, absolutely.
And that's what gets you out the door.
Yeah.
You're like,
Oh, yeah.
once they start, like, can you come
But
over
also
with
brings
this?
you
Can
back.
help me with the
Yeah,
trash?
like
Like, gotta go.
I'll definitely see those cousins tomorrow. Or actually, I won't because I'm not doing the big Thanksgiving. But it's
Hey.
inevitable where you see, you get around the cousins and they're like, bro, they were killing you on Tiger Drop.
Right,
You're a
right,
douchebag. You know what it was like? And like one of them chimed, was like, I chimed in and told him he sucks, bro. He's a total douche. Like, appreciate it, fellas. Good to see y'all.
Good seeing y'all.
Yeah.
Enjoy the turkey.
Right. How's that Billy Napier thing working out for you, Jordy?
Really played at your flag on that one, huh?
right. Yeah, right. Good call, douche.
Yeah. What are you that called Lincoln Riley a bitch? Like,
Yeah,
that was your head coach. Like, no.
Yeah.
Happy Thanksgiving.
All right, fellas. Everybody have a great one. Thank you for being here and spending your pre-Thanksgiving with us. Make sure and hit that like button, share button, comment button. For the entire crew here on this Wednesday, Happy Thanksgiving and have a great, safe holiday. We'll be back with you at some point, maybe tomorrow, definitely on Friday. Go Chevrolet drives us every day.